Okay, welcome everyone to Progressive Discussions, Uncensored Saturday, Open Topic Talk. I'm your host, James P. Madonna, and I've been doing this progressive thing since 2007. Of course, starting with my original co-host and mentor, the late, great Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. God rest his soul, rest in peace. I started doing the show with him. And he's the one that came up with the name, the title for the Facebook channel, Progressive Discussions. He's the one that invented it. So every show I ever did is on the YouTube channel playlists in the archives, starting with the very first show that I did with the Reverend Dr. Bill. Anyway, this YouTube channel is a memorial to the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, and it says it right on the channel. We are live streaming from YouTube and Twitch. So any of you YouTubers and Twitchers that have anything on your mind, no matter what it is, as long as it's not silly, ridiculous, and disruptive, this is your place to vent. Anyway, just want to bring my magic wand, my mascot here, if you want to call it that, the official Donald Trump toilet brush. All right, and there he is, Donald Trump toilet brush. Wave the evil magic wand of Donald Trump, the toilet brush, and you can flush the United States right into the sewer and the abyss. You will hear the sound of toilet flushing as the whole country goes into the sewage, which it already is sewage. Okay. So I'm going to take a sip of some fine local craft beer from Brooklyn Brewery. Okay, Brooklyn Brewery's lager. Refreshing. This is a quality beer. And not too expensive for craft beer either. Okay, let's get right into it. Into the topic here. Let's see. This has to do with the Iran-Israel conflict. Okay, so I gotta do a screen share so people can hear it.
Iran will be World War III. Iran is not alone, and it will not remain alone. With Russia, we are at possibility of peace, but we're also at a possibility of nuclear war. They're both very close. And if we go to war with Iran, we make nuclear war all the more likely.
Do you think that the people pushing us toward war with Iran understand that?
No, I think that they're following a plan, clean break, 1996, and a plan, 1991, 7 wars in 5 years, that has been deep set, and that has been Netanyahu's baby all the time. Netanyahu, I regard as one of the most delusional and dangerous people on the planet. He has engaged the United States so far in 6 disastrous wars, and he's aiming to engage us in yet one more. We're not standing up for Israel. We are engaging in war on Israel's behalf all over the Middle East. That's a completely different thing. Nothing that has happened in the Middle East has been for American national security. None of it. Not one of these wars. These have been Netanyahu's wars.
Very well put. I'm very happy I started off the show with this video, and I'm really taking a liking to Tucker Carlson's new interview show. He really throws some deep, sharp, hard-hitting questions. He hits a raw nerve with all of his guests, and that's good. The new and improved Tucker Carlson. Now, this has to do with a single mother. A single mother. I think it's a red pill dating relationship. Male rights activists. Hold on. Oh crap. Jesus. Oh, all right. We got to do it this way, unfortunately. Because Zuckerberg is fucked up. He doesn't He doesn't always give you the means of pausing and restarting from the beginning or advancing a video. He doesn't update anything. He doesn't put any money, apparently, into his social media platforms because he's a greedy, fucking, stingy, hook-nosed, dork, geek motherfucker. That's basically what he is. Ah. Oh. Wait a minute, that's not it. Again. You gotta do this again. Okay. That's the way they want to play. Okay, so um he does the same bullshit on Instagram. The hook-nosed geek, the dork. All right.
5 things single mothers keep hidden from men. 1.
5 things single mothers keep hidden from men. All right, you ready?
A single mother does not love you and never will. She loves your utility. She craves your provision. You are not her king. You are her mule. The Bible says, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Her heart is buried in survival, not submission. You are not her savior. Her loyalty lies with herself and the child of another man. Her soul is fractured, and you are the bandage, not the cure. 2. A single mother is still in love with her baby daddy and gives him secret, sacred access. No matter how much she curses him in public, she remains spiritually yoked to him. She will let him back into her life like a serpent returning to the garden, unannounced, uninvited, and unchallenged. In mysticism, sex binds souls. Her body remembers him. Her spirit is tied to him. You're just the distraction. 3. A single mother wants your money, not you. You're a walking wallet, a replacement sponsor. She'll sell you the sob story, the broken woman fairy tale, and call it vulnerability. But behind that soft voice is a financial assassin with a baby on her hip and a ledger in her head. She wants your pockets, not your presence, your labor, not your love. 4. A single mother is a pathological liar. She lies with 5 things single mothers keep hidden from
Pathological liar. Yeah, well, women in general are manipulative. I mean, that's a known fact. The truth about Elon Musk's agenda. Okay. That's the next topic here. We have a lot of material. We never run out of. I can control the video. Thank God. And for once, the hook-nosed dork geek has a video page that's working properly. Okay. All right, let me see what he has to say. I just started the show. I don't know if there's going to be any panelists or how many panelists. I just started the show. I'm not ready for the panelists yet. You know the drill. When I go live, you know the drill. You believe what they tell you in the dating world? You believe what they tell you? Then you're very easily manipulated. Good morning, Masumi from Chiba Prefecture, Japan. Good morning. It is now Sunday morning in Chiba Prefecture. Perhaps maybe 9:29 a.m. Maybe. I know they're 13 hours ahead of us in time. But anyway, thank you for stopping by, Masumi. And good morning to you. Always appreciate you stopping by. So we have Japan, as always, listening to us. There's Ronnie S., residing in Clearwater, Florida, right now. Good evening, compadre James. You know what I like better? Comandante James. Many blessings to you on this summer solstice. That's right. That's right. Thank you for reminding me. Today is the one and only first day of summer, the summer solstice. So happy summer solstice to all of you Wiccans and, pagans and people involved in witchcraft and whatever. I'm a big believer in the real holidays of the year, the real celebrations of the year. Okay, and that includes winter solstice Yule in December. That's right, the first day of winter. Then there's the vernal equinox, which I believe is the first day of autumn. I could be wrong, but I think that's what it is. And then the transition of winter into spring, that might be another vernal equinox. I know it's another equinox. Anyway. Yeah, well, I'm Catholic too, but I have an open mind, Chief. All right. The official Donald Trump toilet brush. Actually, concerned citizen can use it as a toothbrush. Masumi is probably laughing right now, looking at Donald Trump's toilet brush. Ah. Thank you, James, for your reply. You're very welcome. Yes, it is. It is the longest day of the year. That's very true. You know, my uncles, they had to quit school to go to work, for the family back in the day. I think during the Depression, so they missed out on a high school diploma. So instead of Catholic, they used to say Catholic, like a cat was licking something. Catholic. I'm a Catholic. Hey, I'm a good Catholic. Hey, I'm a Catholic too, but I have a very open mind, and I celebrate many things. Hey, look who's back. Brother Sook, Brian Sook. I am off today, and my brother brought me dinner of some barbecue from his neighbor. Good for you. Good, I'm glad. I hope everything is working out well for you. I hope you got your medical benefits. I know you didn't have any before. Brother Brian Sook from Buffalo, New York. Catholics can celebrate the summer solstice also, Chief. Yeah. Well, I believe in the earth magic. I believe in Gaia, the spirit of the earth, Mother Earth, Mother Nature, Gaia, which is tied into karma. When you fuck with Mother Nature, you pay. Just like when corporate America allows Monsanto to use the pesticide known as Roundup, and it kills off the pollinators, our bees. Well, Mother Nature, Gaia, says, "Oh, you want to play that way? You want to play hardball with Mother Nature? Well, guess what? No pollinators means no crops. No crops means no food." And then all the multi-billionaires and all the rich politicians and corrupt politicians and crony capitalists, they can all learn the hard way that you cannot eat money. You cannot eat money. Chief. You know what I'm saying, Chief? Masumi says Trump's toilet brush is so funny. Yes, it is. And it's so appropriate, too. All right, let me get back to the project here. Okay, where are we?
Elon Musk and his little gang of frat boy, tech bro miscreants, call them the muskrats, call them the doggy boys, whatever you want, that they went into Social Security with bad intent. The cover that they went in under was they were going to look for waste, fraud, and abuse. But I think we know that the waste, fraud, and abuse veil in which the doggy boys wrapped themselves was a fake. Because if you were actually concerned about waste, fraud, and abuse, you wouldn't fire all the inspectors general. You'd actually probably try to recruit the inspectors general into your so-called government efficiency effort, because what inspectors general do all day is actually look for waste, fraud, and abuse. And you could go through their files and say, here, what are the biggest areas that we should be paying attention to? And you'd work with the inspectors general. Instead, they were fired. That whole apparatus to actually seek waste, fraud, and abuse was set aside. And in came the doggy boys, a little bit like in Cat in the Hat, Thing 1 and Thing 2, except there were 100 more of them running around doing considerable damage to government agencies and government systems. And to a very significant extent, I think doing damage to government agencies and systems was the point. This was not the bug, this was the feature. They went in to try to wreck stuff. And it became particularly dangerous around Social Security. Because first of all, there was a propaganda campaign to talk down Social Security, to pretend falsely that it was riddled with fraud. That took place, including right over on the House floor, when the president came to speak to Congress and repeatedly lied about Social Security fraud.
Yeah, because that in that way, Republicans can attempt to steal Social Security, that which does not belong to them. Steal Social Security. I never trust what a multi-billionaire has to say, or an establishment politician, especially a right-wing establishment politician.
Then you had the infiltration of people who were from tech bro world and from private equity world, exactly who would want to take over Social Security. And then you had people talking up benefit interruptions, like that was an okay thing. Well, a benefit interruption would be the excuse to go in and take over Social Security, to privatize it with tech bros and with private equity people. So I think the noise that we made about that headed it off, but there remains the lingering danger that when they got into Social Security's data systems, they exfiltrated data because data has enormous value, or they infiltrated bugs to do damage to the old systems of Social Security, or, worst of all perhaps, they left back doors so that Elon Musk or other folks who are interested in getting access to massive amounts of Americans' data can find their way in to Social Security's data system secretly. So this is a very simple measure. It asks for an audit of Social Security data systems to make sure that those things did not happen. That really ought to be a bipartisan, if not unanimous, expression of Senate intention, and that's why I hoped that we could generate unanimous consent for it.
Yeah, well, you know what? This is what happens when an estimated 90 million Americans decide not to vote. Last November, they decided their lives, their uh, self-centered, self-serving, uh, uh, personal lives were just too important for them to take the time to vote uh, one day every 4 years. You know, it was just it's too much of an inconvenience for them. So 90 million Americans didn't vote, and that's why we have a Republican-controlled House and Senate and a lunatic, narcissist, lunatic, uh, fascist dictator, despot in the Oval Office, in the White House. All right? That's why we have all this. Jim Acosta, you remember him from CNN. He has bucked heads with Donald Trump many times. He's promoting independent media, which I think is great. What the hell's going on here? First thing, as a rule, they turn the volume off. These fucking what do you call them? Social media companies. I don't know why they do it, but because they're pricks. That's why they're scumbags. They're pricks. They're pricks. Just like the trolls that try to sabotage my show. Pricks.
The thing I was going to say is, listen.
Hold on.
What Joy is saying is absolutely right. It's the curse of the cable.
Hold on. I don't know why the volume fluctuates like this. I really don't.
The thing I was going to say is, listen. What Joy is saying is absolutely right. It's the curse of the cable news control room. It's sort of like, well, what do we go to next? Let's throw up some wallpaper video of a Waymo on fire. And the message that is sent out to the country is that, oh shit, all of LA is burning to the ground. It's Rodney King all over again. For Christ's sake, people, get a hold of yourselves. Try to report the news as it is happening in the world of reality. And I think one of the reasons why people are turning to independent media, people are tuning into us today by the tens of thousands. People are showing up in the streets to support Ezra's efforts and the Indivisible organization's efforts to have these No Kings protests across the country, is that people are tired of being trapped in sort of this dystopian information bullshit loop. And what people want right now is the truth, the fucking truth. And the fucking truth of the matter is that Donald Trump is trying to be a dictator in this country, and we, the people, are not going to take this lying down.
Mm-hmm. Damn right. No Kings, the No Kings protest is going very well with massive turnout. And same thing with Bernie Sanders and AOC's crusade against the oligarch, the progressive rallies against the oligarch that's going on from city to city nationwide. Massive turnouts for that also. America is Israel's bitch. That's what this is about. The biatch. There's a lot of biatches out there in today's modern society. A lot of biatch. Okay. Take a peek and see what. Wait a minute. Trump's toilet brush is so funny. I want that. You want a Trump toilet brush? I think Amazon has them. Amazon has them. I think that's where it comes from. It was a gift to me, but Amazon has them. I believe. Amazon has just about everything. I was watching some of Bernie's speech last night from Texas. No AOC there. Well, I'm sure she went somewhere important. AOC. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Name 5 of AOC's accomplishments. Well, I'll give you one. No Republican can compete with her in a debate since she's loaded with proven facts and Republicans have none. Okay. And number 2, she, like Bernie Sanders, works very hard for the bottom 98%, for the little guy. All right. Concerned citizen is a a company man, a brown noser, a sycophant. He would get on his knees and suck the dick of Jeff Bezos, any of those guys, Bill Gates, you name them, Rupert Murdoch, Elon Musk, Zuckerberg, the ugliest one of all the billionaires. He would suck all their dicks. He would stuff all their dicks in his mouth at the same time. That's what a corporatist, that's what a right-wing corporatist is. He will polish their knobs at the same time if he can do it. If it meant currying a favor from them. Meanwhile, little does he know, trickle-dickle-down economics was always a big lie. Never happened, and most likely, it never will. Trickle-dickle. Trickle-dickle. Oh, he's on a roll. Oh, look, the right-wing saboteurs are on a roll. In socialism, you wait for the bread of capitalism. The bread, in capitalism, the bread waits for you. Yeah, right. The bread waits for you. So if you're not fast enough to get there in time to get the bread and circus, you've heard that, bread and circus. If you don't have if you're not quick enough to get the bread, you starve under capitalism. If you don't have the money in your fucking pay out of pocket system where you have to pay out of pocket for everything, if you don't have the money to pay for your own health insurance and you get sick, or you get into an accident and you need emergency surgery, or you come down with a life-threatening illness, you die. Like the way some of those governments in South America are. Particularly, I don't know how it is now, but Colombia, South America was like that. There was no middle class. There was the very poor, very rich, no middle class. If you didn't have money, they give you the right to do 2 things. You have the right to shop under capitalism. This is the only right. You have the right to shop, and if you're unlucky and you don't have much money, you have the right to drop dead. I shouldn't even answer this guy. I should not answer this fucking guy. Yeah, bread and circus. That's gonna be your new name, bread and circus. AOC is a fireball. She is a fireball. I challenge concerned citizen to handpick any number of Republicans in Washington or Republicans that are in the limelight, in the spotlight. You can even get Newt Gingrich out of retirement. And I like to see a fair debate. Bernie Sanders will destroy all of them. But I'm saying, take AOC, fair debate. Newt Gingrich, you got 3 minutes to say what you need to say. And then you shut your mouth. Then AOC's has 3 minutes. And then she shuts her mouth. No Republican would survive, okay, against AOC. They wouldn't survive against Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris's predictions were correct about Trump. Screw them. I get these messages. Talk about capitalism. I get these messages on once in a while. You know, they'll come up. They want me to upgrade this and upgrade that and upgrade this. You know what that means? They want you to spend money. If you're getting something for free, which I love, because if it's free, it's for me. And they keep nagging you. You know, upgrade to the premium account. They all do it, no matter where you go. They want you to get the premium account. Here's your premium. I got an itch in the middle of my forehead. It needs to be scratched. Yeah, that's the kind of system that concerned citizen likes. Pay out of pocket for everything. If you don't have the money, you drop dead. Or if you can't survive on what your relatives can do for you or your local church, you drop dead. Yeah. But you do have the right to go shopping. Yeah, you have the right to shop. She is a New Yorker. She's a Bronx or whatever, wherever she grew up. It doesn't matter. She is a New York Latina, Puerto Rican, and she came from a very humble background, and she went door to door campaigning the hard way, the old-fashioned way, on a low budget. You know, that's how Bernie Sanders pretty much does it. And also, that's how Jesse Ventura campaigned when he was running for a governor of Minnesota. Low budget. No, they didn't owe any of the fat cats anything because they didn't accept the big campaign contributions from the forces of evil. All right, where am I? Oh, here we go. I always things always slow down too much when concerned citizen throws his bullshit at me. Always.
Also, like, I don't understand the relationship between America and Israel. It's like it's the most effed up situation ever. We're like the world's most pathetic sugar daddy. We give them billions of dollars and they shit on us. Like Mr. Jonathan said, now we're ganging on them. We're not helpful. Dude, we gave you $30 billion to bomb children and it's not enough for you. Like, I mean, at least when you pay a dominatrix, you know that you're getting fucked. But this is just America having a public humiliation king while getting fucked, and they call this foreign policy. They are arresting American students on American soils for protesting Israeli war crimes. What the hell, man? This is like your crack whore making you beat your children for calling her what she is, a whore. This is what really boggles me in America. The right and the left, they fight each other tooth and nail over gun control, education, minorities' rights, healthcare, DEI. But when it comes to Israel, everybody competes to be Israel's favorite bitch. Republicans hate handouts unless it's for Israel. And Democrats, They love human rights and listen for the Palestinians. I mean, this is a Delulu state. You guys are Delulu. Wahab Rabbi, you are Delulu. Like, I came here today to witness for myself how someone can lie so shamelessly. The guy is like a human pinball machine. Every question lies on him. Into Hamas. Is like a magic 8 ball with one answer. Hamas. Yani at least flat earthers, they make things interesting. You guys are boring. You are like the same thing. I left all of this. I left the media because of this. I come back. It's a freaking Groundhog Day. Either every day the same question, the same thing, dude. Nobody believes you. You are liars.
Okay.
Nobody believes you.
Okay. Let me.
That guy's great. He's talking. I guess he's talking about the mainstream media. A future planet Earth. Ooh, this is interesting. I have to stop by the commentary and see what I got waiting for me. He knows. What do I got here? Old commentary. Yeah, she is hot. I like Grandpa Schumer. Yeah, Grandpa, old granddad. Grandpa Schumer. Oh, how's this? Wait a minute, hold it. No, it's gotta be, here we go. Chuck Schumer. Just call me James Schumer. Ronnie always gets a crack at it when I do this. Grandpa Schumer. Grandpa Schumer. Schlong Schumer. Oh.
This is Earth in the year 2500. Forget flying cars. We're talking about a world where massive space elevators stretch into orbit, connecting Earth to floating cities in the clouds. The ice caps? Gone. But humanity didn't just survive. We thrived. Earth's surface is covered in vertical megacities reaching into the stratosphere, housing billions while rewilded forests sprawl between them. Humans live in orbital habitats that spin around our planet like glittering rings, each one home to millions. The oceans? They're dotted with floating nations that harvest energy from waves and storms. Meanwhile, massive mirrors in space redirect sunlight to power the entire planet. And here's the kicker. We're terraforming other worlds while Earth heals itself. Humans aren't just living on Earth anymore. We've become a multi-planetary species. But Earth remains our crown jewel, a carefully managed paradise that's more beautiful than it's ever been. This isn't science fiction, it's our potential future. Follow us for more mind-blowing space videos.
I like that. Yeah, our potential future. That's true. A multi-planetary species utilizing space on Earth and adapting to the drastic changes that take place when it needs to be done. Amazing. Government responsible for millions of hens dying. So the government fucked up with the egg farmers. Doesn't surprise me. It's Trump's fault. I In the year 2525.
Earlier this year, eggs hit a record price of over $6 a dozen. Though prices have fallen since, they could soon go back up. And the reason is avian flu. It's not going away. Tens of millions of egg-laying hens have been lost to the flu nationwide this year.
Look at 'em.
6 million hens.
Look at those poor, unfortunate hens jam-packed and crammed together in an unhealthy indoor environment. It's terrible. Factory farming. This is factory farming, folks. This is what the right-wing capitalists love. Profit before people, the planet, and its creatures on Earth.
Hens were Arizona egg producer just last month, decimating Hickman's family farms, the biggest egg farm in the Southwest. The man who runs Hickman says there's an easy solution to stopping the bird flu, but the federal government won't allow him and other egg producers to use it. This video was obtained exclusively by 12 News, and it's not easy to watch. Dead chickens, not just a few, or a wheelbarrow, or a front-end loader full, or even a full truckload. This is just a fraction of the 6 million birds dead at Hickman's family farms after avian flu infected the flock. As workers cleaned the barns wearing hazmat gear, most of the chickens were buried here under huge mounds of dirt on the property.
In 3 weeks, we've watched an 81-year-old business go from full blast to zero.
Glenn Hickman is the president of Hickman Family Farms. He walked us through the empty processing plant, empty barns, empty coolers. The losses in livestock, jobs, and frustration is mounting.
If we got hit by lightning, we'd understand that that's just the luck of the draw that day. But getting hit by bird flu is totally preventable.
The prevention he's talking about is an avian flu vaccine. It's actually manufactured here in the U.S. and it's used in other countries. But because of current USDA regulations, it's not available for commercial bird flocks here in the U.S. Instead of vaccinating birds against the virus, the U.S. policy right now is to destroy the entire flock.
And I'm not a virologist, I'm not a veterinarian or anything in between. I'm just telling you that there is no logical reason that we shouldn't be using it here in the United States.
So this really is an endgame pandemic for birds.
Dr. David Inglethaler is the director of T-Gen North for ASU and has extensive experience with viruses.
I think vaccines should be part of a multi-pronged strategy. Right now, that's the prong that's not being used. I think it really does need to be explored. The vaccines that are used in birds right now have been used really around the world in multiple countries.
We can't vaccinate our chickens, yet we're buying eggs from Mexico to help solve the egg shortage, and they vaccinate their chickens.
The USDA has been less than clear on its vaccination policy, saying only it's studying its use. Part of the issue is the massive industry of chicken meat called broilers being exported. Some countries won't allow importation of vaccinated chicken meat. But Hickman argues his hens are only used for laying eggs and should be allowed to be vaccinated. Democratic Congressman Greg Stanton agrees. He wrote the head of the USDA, saying in part, I write to strongly urge the U.S. Department of Agriculture to reinstate a comprehensive vaccination strategy that combats the avian flu that's devastating egg producers in Arizona and across the country. A USDA undersecretary then replied, the decision to proceed with poultry vaccination is complex and considers logistical factors such as trade ramifications. But while federal leaders debate the use of vaccines, Hickman fears what's going to happen as he puts chickens back in his barns.
There's nothing to prevent it from happening again. We have 350,000 baby chicks coming in July, and I have no idea what I'm going to do differently to keep those 350,000 baby chicks healthy from getting the virus again.
Hickman's is bringing in 350,000 chicks a month to replenish their flock. The process will take 2 years. That's if the bird flu doesn't hit them again. Now 12 Plus special features, extended interviews with Glenn Hickman and Dr. Inglethaler, and more of the exclusive drone video from the egg farm. are we standing right now?
We're standing in the middle of 7. So this barn was first populated in 2015 and remodeled for cage-free about 3 years ago.
And so normally, what would be in here?
300,000 cage-free hens.
Just in this building?
Just in this barn.
And what's here now?
There's not a chicken on the facility. There's 14 barns here, there's one pullet barn, and there's not a chicken here.
And when you look around, what goes through your mind?
Devastation. I mean, it's devastating for our customers. It's devastating for the families that work with us. It's devastating, for the economy. It's an avoidable tragedy, and that's what's so frustrating about it. If we got hit by lightning, we'd understand that that's just the luck of the draw that day. But getting hit by bird flu is totally preventable.
Okay, let's go into that. How do you prevent it?
Well, the simple way is we've tried the holistic approach, making sure that if you enter a barn with chickens that you're showered and put on clean clothes, and that we ask all of our employees to not visit people that have birds. We've asked them not to go to the zoo when they've had outbreaks out there. And so, we do all those kind of prophylactic things to try to keep the virus at bay. And we've run out of that. The virus is so thick in the environment now that it's airborne. And we simply cannot battle an airborne disease with common biosecurity. So the easy answer, Troy, is vaccine. If we could vaccinate the birds, which we can do, we already vaccinate at day old at the hatchery. This vaccine can be given at the same time. It doesn't take an extra poke. It doesn't take any extra handling. And then when we vaccinate again at 10 weeks, we do the same thing. We're already vaccinating for chicken pox and bronchitis, and this is just would be added to that vaccine package. So it's literally nothing extra to do.
Perhaps this is the number one enemy against type 2 diabetes. The video you're watching costs $1 billion. And yes, you heard me right. That's the exact price Pfizer, Walgreens, and other pharma giants.
And we could avoid all this economic devastation by just simply vaccinating our chickens.
Why aren't you doing it?
I don't know if there's a good answer. I know what the political answer is that the USDA is still looking at what the issues are with regard to trade with other countries and how they're going to monitor the use of vaccine and all those things. We get that answer. But that doesn't have anything to do with protecting our flock. That's protecting someone else's wallet.
So if the USDA is worried about exporting chickens for meat, how would that affect you and your chickens?
Well, our chickens, you might consider our chickens like a dairy, and the meat birds are like a feedlot. They're both cows, but they're totally different genetics, and they have totally different uses. So there wouldn't be any intersection. Our country doesn't export any eggs anyway, so we don't really care if our eggs can't go to other countries. And there's a bit of a political challenge even there. We can't vaccinate our chickens, yet we're buying eggs from Mexico to help solve the egg shortage, and they vaccinate their chickens.
How does that make sense?
It doesn't make sense. No matter how many times I say it, it doesn't make sense, and it will never make sense.
So when you talk to people in positions of authority and say this, what's the response you're getting?
Some of the same bureaucratic gobbledygook, that we're studying the problem, that we're looking at it, that we're trying to figure out how it's going to impact our trade partners. But Troy, this vaccine that is manufactured in the United States has been manufactured since February of 23. It's being shipped to Europe, so those countries are vaccinating their poultry and protecting their flocks, and we can't use it here. So there's nothing, in my opinion, and I'm not a virologist, I'm not a veterinarian or anything in between, I'm just telling you that there is no logical reason that we shouldn't be using it here in the United States.
Well, tell me what you're seeing in terms of, you're talking about this as being like an endgame pandemic for the birds. Explain that to me.
Yeah, well, this avian flu virus came out of Asia, really only a few years ago. It picked up some mutations that made it incredibly pathogenic to birds and spread around the world really quickly. And now just a couple years later, we've seen 175 million poultry being affected. We've seen probably another 100 million wild birds around the world dying from this virus. So this really is an endgame pandemic for birds. We got to watch it very closely for human health aspects, but also human economic aspects. That's what we're seeing right now, especially with the impact on Hickman and all the poultry producers, as well as in a lot of cattle operations too.
Right. So what do you suggest Hickman could do at this point?
Yeah, so what we're seeing, poultry operators, they have a lot of arrows in the quiver, increased biosecurity, keep better enclosures, keeping wild birds and animals out, better biosafety and personal protective equipment. But an important arrow definitely is vaccines. So right now, that's where we're stuck. They don't have an ability to use vaccines, and it really is important for limiting the amount of spread.
What are your thoughts on that? Should they be able to use them?
Well, I think we ought to be able to understand our policies better, understand the needs for policies in preventing vaccines in use in certain food animals. But in this particular case, we're really suffering tremendous economic impacts, not just for great producers like Hickman's, but also for the consumer in being able to purchase eggs.
And so you, coming from a scientific aspect of this whole thing, do you think it'd be safe to vaccinate these birds?
I think vaccines should be part of a multi-pronged strategy. Right now, that's the prong that's not being used. I think it really does need to be explored. The vaccines that are used in birds right now have been used, really around the world in multiple countries, and we ought to look and learn, gain lessons from that to see how that could be implemented. I'm not sure where the policy is going to shift potentially, hopefully in the near future. That'd be great if it did, but there's a lot of information that we can learn from right now.
Glenn Hickman told me next month they're getting 350,000 brand new chicks in that same facility. And he says, why should I think anything different is going to happen with those chicks? And they're putting them in 350,000 a month for 20 months.
Yeah, this is a rough business, obviously, to be in right now. This virus has effectively become a pandemic. It's spread around the world, and we see it in every state in the U.S., certainly throughout Arizona, and most of the impact on agriculture in Arizona has been just in the last few months. So this virus is not going away. It's just not causing human infections, so we're not paying enough attention to it.
And what has changed in the last? It used to be kind of seasonal, and the Hickmans now are saying it's not seasonal. It's just here.
Yeah, this is not a seasonal flu like we would have, our normal human flu. It's spreading around in birds that are moving around the country and just maintaining it. So we're not going to see it die down anytime soon because it's so well situated and just simmering out there.
Sad situation. Other countries are vaccinating their hens and successful at keeping them healthy and surviving and thriving. Mexico does it. The United States won't do it because of the right-wing nuts are so anti-vaccine. Anyway. Netanyahu, the lying fascists. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, this is shit. Okay, how we're gonna do this? Let me take a look.
Israel just finished bombing Iran, and moments later, I'm not kidding you, moments later,
moments ago, Israel launched Operation Rising Lion.
Benjamin Netanyahu has this video out to propagandize Americans about dragging us into what will probably be World War III. And if you don't believe that it's specifically directed at us,
This is a clear and present danger landing on a country the size of New Jersey. Remember, Iran calls Israel the small Satan. It calls America the great Satan.
He even includes a Bible reference.
As the Bible teaches us, when someone comes to kill you, rise and act first.
To try to manipulate the American people into the same bullshit that we did in Iraq.
There is no question whatsoever that Saddam is seeking and is working and is advancing towards the development of nuclear weapons. No question whatsoever.
There were no weapons of mass destruction. They said there are weapons of mass destruction. I was against the war.
Same exact guy. I mean, literally the same dude who tricked the American people and our politicians into fighting a pointless war in Iraq that we got nothing from.
We have spent $2 trillion in Iraq and fighting Iraq. 2 trillion. 2 trillion. Thousands of lives. We got nothing.
Is here manipulating and tricking us into going into World War III. And the same exact premise. I'm not even kidding you.
We will not let the world's most dangerous regime get the world's most dangerous weapons. The increasing range of Iran's ballistic missiles.
Iran, by the way, is also outpacing Iraq in the development of ballistic missile systems that they hope will reach the eastern seaboard of the United States within 15 years.
Would bring that nuclear nightmare to the cities of Europe and eventually to America.
Right.
We're just the first way station en route to use. Threatening the lives not of hundreds, but of millions.
Grieving not for thousands of dead, but for millions.
Remember, Iran calls Israel the small Satan. It calls America the great Satan. Remember, we're the small Satan. You're the big Satan.
The same exact shit. We're doing it all over again.
Iran cannot have a nuclear enrichment program. It's clear that Iran is just buying for time. It refuses to agree to this basic requirement of peaceful nation.
We know everything about what they're doing, and we have to stop it because they're not allowed to have any of the weapons we have.
The hardest decision any leader has to make is to thwart a danger before it is fully materialized.
Believe that a clear connection between Saddam and September 11th must be established before we have a right to prevent the next September 11th.
Yeah.
Well, I think not.
The Iraqis did not knock down. It was not Saddam Hussein that knocked down the World Trade Center. Okay, and nobody really knows why we went into Iraq. Going into Iraq may have been the worst decision anybody has made, any president has made in the history of this country. That's how bad it is. Okay.
Yeah. You hear Netanyahu saying that there's has to be a connection between 9/11 and Iraq, and Donald Trump was right. There was no weapons of mass destruction. It was a waste of $2 trillion, thousands of lives, and the United States got absolutely nothing for that war except, Dick Cheney and his war profiteering. Unbelievable. Let's see. Okay, no, that's a rerun. It's consumer. Okay, this is consumer related. This has to do with some bullshit where the woman spent a lot of money on tickets to an event, only to find out that she had to sign away a whole bunch of rights as a consumer attending the event, the live event. You be the judge of it. Okay. Bear with me. I'm glad you witnessed the video about Netanyahu. You hear what Netanyahu said, connecting 9/11 with Iraq, and then Donald Trump telling the truth? Yeah. Netanyahu, same guy, same shit, damn man. Yep. It's crazy. Now, this is insane. I mean, this woman was really stressed out about this. She already spent the money. She can't get a refund, apparently.
If you go to a concert, if you go to a sporting event, if you go into an NFL facility, I need you to stop and listen to what I'm saying. I was supposed to go to a Kendrick Lamar SZA concert tonight in Landover, Maryland, right? I think what was formerly FedEx Field. I'm assuming they sold it. Last week, I started getting emails from someone asking me, telling me that if I still wanted my tickets that I've already paid for like months ago when this tour first got announced, that I needed to sign new terms and conditions. So now they're like forcing me, coercing me to sign these new terms and conditions, right? And they're holding my tickets hostage that I've already paid for terms and conditions I've already agreed to. So then I'm like, something about this feels nasty, you know, as an energy worker. What are these new terms and conditions? So I screenshotted it and I fed it to chat. And y'all have got to see this. Number one, you waive your right to sue entirely. All disputes must go to mandatory binding arbitration in Maryland. No jury, no class action. Okay, it's kind of shitty, but okay. You assume all risks, including death. Injury, illness, property loss, or even death are your responsibility. But this is the one. You grant full rights to your image, voice, and data. Upon ticket scan, you grant the NFL a global, irrevocable, royalty-free license to use your likeness in any form forever. So for me to pay overpriced money to go take my children to see a performer they like, I have to give up the right to my likeness forever. You can do whatever you want with it, to my data, my voice, my likeness. Okay, you cannot create, live stream, or distribute anything without permission. You release all related parties from liability. This includes not just the team, but also the stadium staff, contractors, vendors, and even subleasers and future signees. Management can revoke your ticket at any time for any reason with no refund. This is just what chat's given to me. I would love for a lawyer to review them. I don't have the knowledge to understand the terms and conditions well enough. And they know that. So when we've all been talking about this is a harvesting ritual, oh, it's a harvesting ritual. It is a harvesting ritual, you guys. They know exactly what the fuck they're doing. So I've already paid for a product. So now I either have to lose the money, thousands of dollars. We got good seats. I splurge for my children, right? Or I have to agree to this. And they did this a week before the damn concert. And so if it's happening here, I don't believe it's just like, this feels like it's NFL. It's not even about the stadium. So how many other NFL stadiums have they already enacted this? How many of you guys have given up your likeness and don't even know it? I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that I'm just like Chat GPT just went crazy, but I put it in more than once and I'm getting the same thing every time. This is nasty work, you guys. Not only are they making so much money off of you, but then they demand everything they can from you. NFL, you should be ashamed of yourself if this is accurate.
Jeez, never ends. When does it end? When will the powers that be? When will big business stop fucking with we the people, with the consumer, trying to exploit us? Just goes on and on and on. Now, this is going to turn you off, all you fast food enthusiasts, which I am not one of them. McDonald's fake chicken. This does not seem right to me. Wait until you see this. This is just not normal. And then I'll check on the commentary. McDonald's is most likely the worst fast food place. I wouldn't even call it a fast food restaurant.
So you guys, I went to McDonald's, right? Our chicken ain't real no more, y'all. Why is this chicken bending like a damn hairband? Like, ain't this supposed to like break? What's going on here? Our chicken ain't real, bro. What?
Look at
Pull it apart.
Bro, this shit is tough.
her.
This chicken ain't
It's
real.
not breaking.
And I'm finna indulge in it. Y'all see that? Oh, that's crazy. Oh, this shit crazy. I don't even think I want to eat this. Don't go to McDonald's. Don't get this.
It's like rubber. It's like rubber, man. Evidence against the moon landing. Well, you decide for yourself. Okay, you decide for yourself. And then after this, I'll check on the commentary. All you folks out there that are watching us from YouTube and Twitch, all you YouTubers and Twitchers, this is your place to vent. Feel free to bring up any topics that are important to you.
Some say the 1969 moon landing was a hoax. Based on photos and footage supposedly taken on the lunar surface, people have pointed out several suspicious details. First, shadows of objects in the same frame aren't parallel, something that would normally only happen under multiple light sources. Second, the astronaut appears unusually well lit. If he were really standing in the shadow of the lunar lander, his figure should be much darker or barely visible. Third, the American flag seems to flutter as if it's blowing in the wind. But there's no air on the moon, so how could it move like that in a vacuum? And finally, the astronaut's footprints are unusually deep. Since the moon has no air or moisture, some argue that such clear footprints shouldn't even be possible. All these questions have cast a mysterious shadow over one of humanity's most significant technological milestones. To investigate these claims, Adam started with a powerful light source. Next, he needed a moon. He painted a wooden board black and sprinkled it with cement powder and fine sand to simulate the lunar surface. Then he placed a scale model of the lunar lander on top. Once the light was turned on, a convincing moon scene was set. In the photos taken during the experiment, the shadows of the lander and nearby rocks clearly fall on the same flat surface. However, in NASA's original images, the shadows don't appear parallel. So what could be causing this difference?
That's pretty good. The simulation of the moon surface, what that man did, it looked just like it. It looked just like it. Just how small we are, this is called. How small we actually are as, in terms of planet Earth, right? Us humans, planet Earth, and the Milky Way galaxy. Not even getting into other galaxies. You know, like our neighboring galaxy, Andromeda, which is larger than the Milky Way galaxy. And that's only one galaxy, a neighboring galaxy.
This scale will break your brain. If the sun was the size of a white blood cell, the Milky Way galaxy would be the size of the United States. That's how tiny we are. In a galaxy of over 100 billion stars. And our galaxy? Just one of an estimated 2 trillion galaxies in the universe. The scale of the cosmos is so massive, it makes Earth feel like a pixel on a map. In fact, the distance between stars is so huge, light takes years to travel from one to another. And yet, we orbit just one star, in a remote corner of a single spiral arm. We're not even a dot in the big picture, we're a decimal point. Follow factually fake for more facts that sound fake, but aren't. Imagine being able to visit just one of those distant stars. Our current technology could never take us there within a human lifetime. But who knows what the future holds? Perhaps one day, humanity might reach beyond our tiny corner. Long ago, explorers believed the Earth was flat. Today, we journey to the edges of our solar system. Human curiosity is the universe's greatest mystery. The cosmos is vast. Our questions are infinite.
Amazing, huh? Amazing just how small we really are, how tiny we really are. Oh man. Oh. Spiritual war is here, and it's about frequency. Bum, 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 bum. Let's see what we got here. I will, Mr. Ranias. My word is my bond. And I'm not talking about 007.
The war isn't coming. It's already here. And it's not being fought with guns. It's being fought with thoughts, emotion, and energy. This is a spiritual warfare, and most people don't even realize that they've already surrendered. They wake up, scroll mindlessly, absorb fear, doubt themselves, and call it normal. But that's the strategy. Keep the body alive while the soul forgets who's in control. The media drains you, the food lowers you, the music curses you, the system distracts you. You're not just under attack, you're under influence. And energy can be weaponized. This is why they fear you awakening. Because when you remember your power, you can no longer be manipulated, consumed, or controlled. This isn't about religion, it's about frequency. Who you allow in your energy, what you agree with in your spirit, and what you speak over your life. You're under attack because you're chosen. Understand that your light threatens the darkness. Protect your mind, speak life, pray with fire, move with clarity, and never forget that the world is before it's physical.
When you hear about how the earth is transforming from the third dimension into the fifth dimension, that's a higher frequency of existence. Okay. Oh, let's see. Oh, it's one of these freaking things. Oh man, shit. Okay. It's one of these deals. Hmm. Oh, no, it's not.
What the fuck am I going to do with a Trump phone? I don't need another phone bill. We didn't get a stimulus. We didn't get a DOGE check. We didn't get no debt relief. No help for rent. No help for your mortgage. No help for groceries. They won't raise our wages. They won't lower prices. We're fucking drowning in debt, but guess what we get? We get a Donald Trump phone. A fucking phone, gold-plated with Trump's picture on the back of it. I voted for him. Do I want a fucking Trump phone? No! I want some goddamn relief. No food stamps, no help with child care, no clean water in Flint, no cheap utilities, but a gold-plated, freedom-fueled, white, red, and broke Android with unlimited patriotism for $47.45 a fucking month. Can't call your doctor, can't afford your medications. But don't worry, you can call your landlord and tell him you still can't pay the rent money with your Trump phone. This is what America's come to. No solutions, no support, just a $47.45 phone bill, phone plan. What is this? Is this a marketing plan? Are we saving the country, or is this all about marketing? They gave up on helping us, but hey, at least the phone comes with a flag so you can show your patriotism, I guess. I don't fucking know anymore.
Unbelievable. First, he's always trying to sell something instead of help the American people and save the crisis that they're in, save them from the crisis of increasing cost of living and grocery bills, and like the man said, you know, the wages can't keep up with the cost of living, and he keeps trying to sell something. It was a stupid watch that was missing the letter T. It said rump, and now it's a Donald Trump phone, Donald Trump smartphone. Give me a break. The guy's absolutely right. I got a few more. I just want to get rid. I want to get rid of a couple more.
Differences between Trump's actions in LA and Afghanistan are simply astounding. First, LA has 3.7 million people. Afghanistan has 44 million. LA is 502 square miles. Afghanistan is 500 times bigger. ICE raids caused some protests in a small portion of downtown LA. The Afghanistan war started after America was attacked on 9/11. Now, one day after the LA protests started, Trump mobilized the Marines, and within 3 days, he deployed 4,000 of them, in addition to 2,000 National Guard soldiers and who knows how many ICE agents. After 19 years of an ongoing war, Trump reduced the number of U.S. troops in Afghanistan from 4,000 to 2,500 and released 5,000 enemy soldiers. There's no rioting in LA now, but Trump's administration is going to keep 4,000 troops there, despite this costing us $134 million so far. Meanwhile, Trump believed that 2,500 American troops were enough to hold warring Afghanistan. In LA, ICE has been arresting mostly Hispanic people without criminal records who work in construction, warehouses, and restaurants in LA. Trump is now also arresting Afghanis living legally in America for years who risked their lives to help us during the war. Anywhere and everywhere you look, Trump's cruelty, hypocrisy, inhumanity, and incompetence are definitively clear. Do you agree?
Yeah. Now that's a CEO I can respect. He's actually a CEO. Post from the Ukrainian Ministry of Accidental Russian Fires. Wait, hold on a second. Let's see what this is about. Oh, it's a bit of comedy. This is comedy, folks. Oh man. Okay. Let's see how we're gonna do this. Can't take it. It's so funny. It's so funny. Oh man. Oh, that is so friggin' funny. Let's see. Force read. Now this is serious, and hopefully Ronnie will be here to witness this one. This is really upsetting. I mean, seriously upsetting. Oh yeah, yeah. Huh? You can't hear the video? Which video was that? The funny one? Or the video with the CEO? It's strange. It's weird. Let me know if you can hear this one. This has to do, this is serious.
You won't be allowed to keep your parents' house after they pass away. Starting in 2026, a new federal inheritance regulation will give the government the right to seize real estate assets if certain conditions aren't met. According to a March 2025 report from the U.S. Treasury Department, heirs who cannot immediately pay property transfer taxes and meet updated ownership compliance rules may lose legal rights to inherited homes. The law is part of the National Housing Reform Act and aims to increase housing availability by reclaiming underused or unpaid properties. In practice, this means that if your parents pass away and you can't afford the new fees or don't move into the home quickly enough, the state can legally take the house and list it for public sale. Critics call it a forced redistribution masked as housing reform. In many states, the new law overrides existing wills and even family trusts, making it harder for children to inherit the homes they grew up in. Legal experts warn that millions of middle-class families could be affected, especially those with property but limited cash. Supporters argue it's a way to prevent real estate hoarding and solve the housing crisis. But for many, it feels like losing your family legacy overnight. You think this is justified or completely unacceptable? Tell me in the comments and follow for more critical updates.
Unbelievable. Hopefully you heard that one. Oh. Here he is. Ronnie, were you able to hear that video just now?
No, I was busy trying to log in. The last,
Oh,
I didn't see the video at all.
yeah. Hold on. It's serious. It's like, it's really not fair. I mean, it's not fair to homeowners. You know, it's what it is remember what I said before, that it doesn't end, they don't stop. Well, if your parents, if anybody's parents spends their whole life working to pay off the mortgage and pay property taxes on the house, and then when those parents pass away, if the children do not pay certain fees and meet the so-called requirements, they don't inherit their parents' home.
Estate
the government takes it.
You see what you're talking about?
The state.
estate tax is called estate with a E,
No, it's a little.
right?
It seems like it's beyond that. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know.
fucked up.
You
It's a fucked up tax.
hold on. Yeah, you tell me if
You
this
won't be
is
allowed
what.
to keep your parents' house after they pass away. Starting in 2026, a new federal inheritance regulation will give the government the right to seize real estate assets if certain conditions aren't met. According to a March 2025 report from the U.S. Treasury Department, heirs who cannot immediately pay property transfer taxes and meet updated ownership compliance rules may lose legal rights to inherited homes. The law is part of the National Housing Reform Act and aims to increase housing availability by reclaiming underused or unpaid properties. In practice, this means that if your parents pass away and you can't afford the new fees or don't move into the home quickly enough, the state can legally take the house and list it for public sale. Critics call it a forced redistribution masked as housing reform. In many states, the new law overrides existing wills and even family trusts, making it harder for children to inherit the homes they grew up in. Legal experts warn that millions of middle-class families could be affected, especially those with property but limited cash. Supporters argue it's a way to prevent real estate hoarding and solve the housing crisis. But for many, it feels like losing your family legacy overnight. You think this is justified or completely unacceptable? Tell me in the comments and follow for more critical updates.
I never heard of that.
Yeah, apparently it's something new, and it doesn't sound good.
Now, where is that? Do you know? Because I would think that like each state would differ.
Yeah, this is
Right.
coming from the U.S. Treasury.
Right. So I
no.
mean, I would think like each state would handle it differently.
Yeah, it should be state to state.
Right.
So if Joe Blow from Idaho, if his parents, they own the house.
Joe Schmo from Chicago.
Joe Schmo from, let's say,
From Chicago.
From Chicago, or Joe Palooka from Chicago, Polish guy from Chicago, pays the house, pays the mortgage off, and taxes his
Joe
whole
the
life.
plumber, right, from
Joe the
Chicago.
plumber, and he drops dead.
Right. Because he's been working hard all his life. He's a plumber.
Right. And then because of the technicalities that the government is coming up with, this redistribution of real estate.
Yeah, what the fuck is that? I heard they said transfer tax. I've heard of that before.
Transfer tax.
But I think they're saying it was updated. Updated transfer taxes. I'm not sure about that. Like a transfer tax, I've heard it's for the upper. The upper, not the middle class, upper class for the most part. Because you got to have a lot of money to get subject to that.
Upper middle class. Now, the last
the millionaires and billionaires. That's like Bernie says.
The fat cats, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fat cat flugy, flat foot.
The millionaires and the billionaires. Can you do a Bernie impression with the Jewish voice?
No, actually, I never practiced. I never tried.
You should try it. It's a funny one. He's like a Brooklyn Jew, progressive.
Bring back James Schumer.
Schumer. There's another Brooklyn Jew actually, Chucky Schumer.
Chucky Schumer. It was funny when he was barbecuing on the terrace.
Yeah, that was great.
That was pretty funny.
He didn't cook the burger, right? It was all pink.
Or either that or it was too well done. What cheap beer is the guy from Florida chugging tonight, brah? Oh, Sid.
Brah.
See, as soon as you appeared, Sid appeared.
Brah is here.
Like instantly, Sid.
Oh, yeah, everybody's here. It's good.
Yeah, Sid, yeah. So anyway, this is
So James, are those your sunglasses? You got the Chucky Schumer sunglasses?
No, these are the sunglasses. These are the sunglasses I wear for St. Patrick's Day to match my green shirt. See, because they're
Can
green.
we see the bird's eye view on that?
Yeah. Hold on. Remember bird's eye frozen vegetables? Hold on.
Yeah, I remember.
Like almost like the Grand Wizard of Wrestling.
They look like Oakleys. Got the same design, right?
Ah, what's Oakley?
The famous Oakleys. You never heard of those?
No. Yeah, it's a nice green. Actually, you know where I got these? At a dollar store. Not the Dollar Tree. Not the Dollar Tree. Another dollar store. I think it was the Dollar Zone. Hey, what happened? I kicked myself off. Hey. All right, this is Senator Murphy throwing questions at Megadeth. What's his name again? Megadeth? Megadeth? No, that's a rock group. Hegseth. the guy who is from where is he from? Fox News originally. Trump hired him to be head of something, Secretary of Defense or something like that. All right.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for being here today. I wanted to build on some of the questions that Senator Schatz was asking, just to try to build a fact predicate for some of the tough spending decisions we're going to have to make here. Just to confirm, I heard you say with respect to the gift of the plane from Qatar that we do not yet have a signed MOU with the government of Qatar. Is that right?
Correct. We're in the process of working through that.
And did you also say we don't have a signed contract with the company that is going to do the work? Or did you say that we have a contract, you're just not willing to disclose the terms?
The terms should not be disclosed of anything related to an aircraft of this type.
So in 2018, when the contract was signed with Boeing to do the upgrades or the new contracts for Air Force One, the terms of that contract were disclosed. They were made public. In fact, it was the Trump administration that issued a press release giving the total as $3.9 billion. Are you saying this time around, even after you sign the contract, you're not going to make public any of the terms of the contract?
I wasn't involved in that previous administration decision, but we're happy to take a look.
The Air Force testified before the House that that contract would likely deliver the new Air Force Ones by the 2028 timeframe. It doesn't stand to reason that you will be able to retrofit the plane from Qatar much sooner than 2028. So I'm trying to understand what the gap is that we're trying to fill. If this contract ends up being $500 million and the gap only ends up being 6 months, that doesn't sound like a wise investment for this committee to make.
Senator, I would defer to the expertise of the Air Force as far as timing of modifications and when that would happen, but there's also been delay after delay after delay on the Boeing side, so I don't know that's a firm fixed date yet, unfortunately, can be counted on.
So obviously the underlying question here is what is going to happen to the plane at the end of Trump's presidency. The president said on May 12th that this plane would be transferred to his presidential library at the end of his term. Is that your understanding of what is going to happen to this plane?
The president said that. That's my understanding, although I would look at what comes out in the MOU.
But why would we ask the American taxpayer to spend upwards of $1 billion on a plane that would then only be used for a handful of months and then transferred directly to the president? That doesn't sound like a wise use of taxpayer dollars.
A lot of the capabilities, as you know, Senator, of that particular platform are and should remain classified. So there are reasons why you might modify, even for a short period of time, an aircraft to ensure the safety and security of the President of the United States.
When do you believe that those upgrades would be made? How long would the president have it before it got transferred to his personal possession?
That would be a determination of the Air Force that would take hold of it and make those modifications within whatever time window they believe gets it to the place where it need to be.
Yeah, I think this is extraordinary, Mr. Chairman. We're talking about a pretty massive investment of appropriations dollars into a plane that the Secretary is saying is currently planned to be transferred personally to the President. There's a lot of other pending needs that we need to fund. This would seem to be low on the list. Mr. Secretary, one final question. Obviously, you know that there is a concern in the public about a double standard that is applied to protest, sometimes protest that turns violent. The president, when he came into office, issued pardons to the individuals that attacked the United States Capitol, including those individuals who beat savagely police officers. You have deployed the National Guard and readied Marines in a way that many people think is unnecessary given the state and the local resources. So maybe let me ask the question this way so that you can assuage people's concerns that there is a double standard. The National Guard was deployed here on January 6th, and that was a decision made by the Department of Defense. Do you support that decision? Do you believe that that was the right decision to deploy the National Guard to defend the Capitol on January 6th?
All I know is it's the right decision to be deploying the National Guard in Los Angeles to defend ICE agents who deserve to be defended in the execution of their jobs.
But I think it's important to know whether you think it was also important to have the National Guard defending the United States Capitol when there were violent protesters here on the president's behalf, to make sure that folks know that you care about protest, whether it's against the president or on behalf of the president.
Senator, I was in the Washington, D.C. National Guard when that happened and was initially ordered to go guard the inauguration of Joe Biden. But because of the politicization of the Biden administration, my orders were revoked. And ultimately, because of the politics that were being played inside the Defense Department by the previous administration.
But you support the decision made on January 6th to send the National Guard here to defend the Capitol?
I support the decision that President Trump made and requesting the National Guard that was denied.
So you do not.
President Trump
you do not support the decision.
Support
you do not
for the
support
National
the
Guard
decision
in
to send the National Guard here to defend the Capitol. I think that speaks to the worry that many Americans have that there is a double standard, that you are not willing to defend against attacks made on our democracy by supporters of the president, but you are willing to deploy the National Guard to protect against protesters who are criticizing the president. That's not how our taxpayer dollars are supposed to work. They're supposed to be used to defend the United States, no matter the nature of the political affiliation of the protesters. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Unbelievable. Double standard is correct. Correct. Before we do the last one, which is Murphy, again on a different topic, let us sync our. Where'd he go? Wait. What happened? What's wrong with? How come? What the hell's going on? Yeah, what happened? I wonder what.
I lost internet for a second.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, Murphy came to the conclusion there's a double.
So is that Murphy from
No, he's a senator from Connecticut. He had to do with the double standard of utilizing the National Guard, not utilizing it for January 6th to protect the Capitol versus sending it to defend ICE agents in Los Angeles. So that is, it was a double standard.
A double standard, yeah.
Before we play the last one, which is Murphy on another topic, let's sink our teeth into this military-industrial complex thing.
So you saw that Trump ordered the missiles on Iran like an hour ago?
Yeah, and like the other gentleman said in one of the other videos, Iran will not be alone.
No, but you saw what happened tonight,
No,
though.
I didn't.
You just recently, 3 missile strikes Trump ordered, like an hour ago. Actually, U.S. on Iran.
Okay, so U.S. on Iran because of Netanyahu's.
It's basically an act of war.
Violin playing because of the crying Jew Netanyahu.
How does Netanyahu do it?
He cries. He plays the violin.
He was the one in 2003 that talked the U.S. into Iraq, and now it's
He's
22
like,
years
oh,
later.
it's Saddam Hussein.
But it's 22 years later, and Netanyahu is still there.
Do you know why he?
Isn't that
Do you
isn't
know
that
why the
crazy?
motherfucker talked the United States into invading Iraq? Because Iraq was, at the time, was firing Scud missiles at Israel. So he suckered the United States into getting involved, and he kept making the connection between the 9/11 attack and Iraq, but there was no connection because
Nothing.
all the
There was nothing.
perpetrators were Saudis.
Right. I think there was one guy from like Qatar, right?
But the point is, nobody from
Yeah.
Afghanistan,
Nobody
from Iraq.
Afghanistan. Now they said that Afghanistan was the headquarters of the Taliban, and that the hijackers were trained in Afghanistan, right?
Well, you know where Osama bin Laden was hiding out. He wasn't in a cave.
In
Yeah, he was
Pakistan.
in Pakistan. The Pakistanis were
Yeah.
hiding him. He wasn't in a cave somewhere in Afghanistan. He was in Pakistan the whole time.
Well, the U.S. Marines, I think, to their credit, when they went in I think October of 01, they took the Taliban out in like less than a month. It was just the Marines too. It wasn't even the army, I don't think.
Well,
So
I know the SEALs found
yeah, the Rangers and the SEALs were
they were all
involved. Yeah,
involved, but
it was all special.
but then we
unit
have
shit.
the American troops guarding the poppy fields and
Yeah, you like that one, right?
poppies like
You didn't know that until I
the
told
Wizard
you.
of
Right?
Oz. Poppy. Well, I know about opium. I know about heroin.
But you didn't know that was
No,
happening in
I knew
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan was a major producer of opium, of poppy. Well, we might as well say opium.
And so was Vietnam.
Right. That's why they had in Asia, in Southeast Asia, they have the infamous opium dens where they used to get high on heroin.
When they were sending body bags back from Vietnam with the dead soldiers, there was some crooked guys that got involved and were shipping heroin inside like coffins or yeah, as if body bags.
So they were
and you would open up the body bag and it was all heroin.
They must have marked,
they shipped it from over there to
they
here.
must have marked the body bag somewhere as a code for the whatever organized crime members to know which body bag had stashed
Yeah. I'm sure they had to have something going on, but they eventually got caught. But it's a pretty ingenious idea, and they got away with it for a while, right?
Well, it's a very clever way to smuggle.
It's sick. It's pretty sick,
but
though, too.
it's well, they don't care. I mean, they don't have respect. They don't have respect. They don't have respect. Hold on. They don't have respect for the dead.
Chucky Schumer.
They don't have.
Wait, do the thing with the spatula with the burger. There you go. Yeah.
They don't have respect for the dead. What do they care? It's money.
Or you got to act like you're reading something because they're like his reading glasses.
He's
right?
he's a military industrial complex is profit before people and the planet and animals too. They don't care about.
No,
I mean, you
they
saw
don't care about
now the thing with the bird flu is they're in other countries they're vaccinating the hens and it's working, like Mexico or whatever.
the hen.
The egg laying hens, against the bird flu.
The hen is the male, right?
Ronnie, it's the female.
Or okay. I wasn't
Which
sure.
gender do you think lays the? What do you think? LGBTQ chicken?
I didn't hear that you said that
What do you think,
they laid
transgender chicken.
a rainbow chicken.
The female is the hen, and the hen lays the eggs. Oh,
James, you got to ask these questions these days.
Right,
you never know.
right, because Every time I fill out an application online, they ask me
Yeah.
what gender was I assigned to at birth. What,
Yeah. What
what was
was
I?
it?
Oh, if I got a pair of balls and a penis,
Assigned to at birth, though. They say that specifically.
was I assigned?
Assigned to at birth.
But if you're born with male genitalia, you're a male. You're
So James, your boy, our boy, Governor Newsom,
Gavin.
with the hair. He's got the
Yeah,
hair.
Jack
Presidential
Lord
guy.
from Hawaii.
So he put out like a tweet, and he called his wife the first partner, because you know how she would be like in California the first lady
Oh, she's the first
because
part.
he's the governor. So instead of saying that, he called her my first partner
Instead of saying the
on
first,
like
oh, she
Twitter,
must be one.
on
She
X.
must be one of those feminists. It's like when they call a woman Ms.
Well, it looked bad. I mean, what do you think, James? It looked bad, I think, on Governor Newsom's part to do that.
It used to really get under my skin when instead of calling a woman Miss, an unmarried woman Miss, they call her Ms. MS period. Ms.
Oh, I never heard of that.
During the beginning of feminism, they weren't calling single women Miss anymore.
Well, a miss would be like a single woman. It could be an older woman that's she's single for whatever reason, right? But Mrs. would be if you're married.
Right. Mrs. if you're married, and you're a Miss if you're single. But
If you're single.
they decided.
Oh, they want that like MZ, Ms.
They decided that all women, whether they're married or single, were to be called Ms. Ms. Like the Ms.
I see. You know what I hate, James? I think you'd hate it. So, I do taxes. If there's a couple where the woman wants to be the taxpayer and the husband is the spouse, I think that's a bad look for the guy. It's a bad look. What do you say?
What can you do, man? Sometimes the man doesn't.
No, what would you say to that, Tom? I mean,
sometimes the man
pretty
doesn't have
rare.
the bucks. Sometimes the woman has the big bucks. And she's the breadwinner. And
So just
she
go
sells
for it.
them. She could be. She could have her own business. She could be very successful.
What if, James, she doesn't take the husband's name? That's like embarrassing. She just uses her father's name still.
You mean
she's married?
The maiden name, father's name.
Yeah, that's her father's name.
In Latin American people, they keep their maiden name.
Well, they use both. So they put the father and then they put the mother
maternal
first, and then hyphen and then the father's name.
They call it the maternal name and the paternal.
Yeah, so they keep both. I mean, we could do that if we wanted to.
If the Spanish woman's name was, let's say, Isabel, so it'd be Isabella, a bacalao, arepa.
That's Italian.
I'm sorry, bacalao. No, not bacala.
That's Italian, right?
Wow. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the fish.
All right, her Isabella, empanada, arepa. Morcia. So it would be her first name, her mother's last name, followed by father's last name, and then if he's married, that name will be last.
And all the countries are not the same. Some Latin American countries, I think there's like 3. It's the opposite, where it's the father first and then the mother after. So it's not even like they're all the same. Yeah, and I don't remember the ones that are the other way. I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, it's like this fucks you up because you got to think that like every country has their own different peculiarities, right? Peculiarity.
Now, AOC looks a lot like.
She's good, right?
Like this famous. This very popular female urologist that's on YouTube, and she's very seductive looking.
Is she Puerto Rican?
No, she's
Spanish?
Indian, but she looks similar.
Huh,
she looks like
really?
she could be her sister. like AOC's sister, but they look similar. And she's got the,
Indians can pretty
got
good looking. You know,
the
some of
bedroom
them.
eyes, the seductive look on the face,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that bedroom look, like when,
But not with this the
oh
thing in the
no,
middle,
she's
and
very
then
modern. She's very,
yeah.
she's Americanized. She's modern. No, no. Who does that? The Hindus, right?
I think
You know,
so.
there's
I think
also a
so.
Muslim population in India. Also,
I'm sure there is.
I
Yeah, it's
found
right
out
there.
there is a second.
They gotta have some. I mean, it's not the majority, but I'm sure
You
some
know
of
what
them
the
are.
weirdest thing I ever encountered, Ronnie,
Mm.
was I knew back in the 19 in the sometime in the late 1980s, I knew this Italian girl that was actually Protestant. She wasn't. Her family was not Catholic. That was I.
Though they were converts, they had to be, you know, because all
I
Italians
never
are
met
Catholic.
an Italian from a family that's Protestant. I mean, like,
No, yeah, well, they if they were they converted like that
yeah, I'm
family,
sure
you
that
know,
it was a
themselves.
convert. I'm sure that
Yeah,
maybe,
all Italians are Catholic. It's just what
yeah,
they are.
like maybe she was disgruntled. The mother was disgruntled for some reason. Like, for instance, the
Yeah,
Philippines. They don't give divorces in the Philippines.
Philippines are very
Very
Catholic
Catholic.
country.
Yeah, they give a annulments or
Yeah,
whatever.
the Spanish left that heritage strong
I
there,
don't know what
very strong when they were part of the Spanish Empire.
what's an annulment. They say we don't.
It's a divorce. It's not a divorce, but it's saying that the church would recognize that the marriage is not valid, which basically means it's like kind of like a divorce.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah. Like I know Indians that do arranged marriages.
The Jews do that too, arrange,
There's a
right?
trial period in India tradition.
Mm.
Like in other words, they do the arranged uh, the arrangement. I don't know if it's a sealed deal or not.
Do they call it a marriage?
Yeah, like in other words, before they do the ceremony, they they get married, okay, but there's a trial period to see if they don't end up at each other's throats or not. And then if it doesn't work out, they terminate it. Something.
How long is the period?
I think it's 2 years. I could be wrong,
Wow,
but
that's pretty
I
generous. two
think it's that.
years.
But it's like the whole concept.
So what if you fall within the 2 year period? What does that mean exactly?
That's a good question. But you know what? I bet knowing how how old world parents are, I bet the parents
Mm.
pick the guy based on how much money him and his family are worth.
Of course, yeah. I mean, what else would you
They
do?
don't pick. They don't
What
pick.
That's the whole reason for it
No,
being
they're supposed
arranged,
to
right?
pick. No, they're supposed to pick a really good-looking guy for their daughter.
No, because if they were gonna
Guy
do
that
that, they would just leave it up to
knows how to.
to
Some
the
guy that's
couple.
gonna turn their daughter on. And really,
It's about the money, man. It's all
so
about the
some
money.
ugly facha bruta. Some.
How do you say money in Jewish and Yiddish? How do you say money?
I love you.
That's got what's the word in Yiddish? Probably heard it a million times.
No, but
Right?
the point is, the ugly mother. They'll pick an ugly motherfucker for their daughter, and he could be rich, but she's got to go to bed with this ugly motherfucker. Come on, that's not fair. That's not fair. Come on. Whereas Trump would not date any ugly woman, right? Oh, excuse me. In the year, how did that song go? In the year 2525? I might as well bring up the one. Before it ends up being too silly. Oh, you gotta be 20. I'm not playing this for 20 minutes. Oh, well, I'll play some of it. I'm not gonna play all of it. In the year 25. Murphy leads Senate vote to block Trump's corrupt weapons deals.
Mr. President.
The senator from Connecticut.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I'm bringing before the Senate an opportunity for us to take a stand against the corruption of American foreign policy. The Senate will take a vote in just a moment to deny the President the ability to move forward with 2 arms sales, one to Qatar and one to the United Arab Emirates. I believe that this Senate should join Republicans and Democrats together in saying that any country that's willing to pay the president personally, to enrich our president personally, in order to receive favorable treatment from the United States of America in its foreign policy, or to receive national security secrets from the United States of America, should be able to do business as usual with this Congress or with this country. And so I want to tell you a story that is heartbreaking, as it is aggravating. So we give the American president enormous power, and particularly we give the president enormous power when it comes to managing the foreign relations of this country. The president decides where we send arms. The president gets to negotiate peace treaties. The president decides how millions of troops are deployed all around the world. And we trust that the president is going to use those powers for good, that the president is going to use those authorities to protect the United States of America. But they are vast powers. They are immense powers. And so there is always the potential that those powers are going to be used for corrupt purposes, that instead of using those authorities in order to gain concessions from other nations that benefit the broad American public or benefit American national security, the president may use those powers in order to enrich himself personally. Our founding fathers actually thought a lot about this problem because they had watched their monarch, they had watched the King of England use the powers that he had in order not to protect the British people, but to amass enormous wealth. He used those powers both to control dissent and protest domestically, but he also used those powers in order to compel other nations and actors inside the empire to pay him tribute. President Trump has decided that he is going to use the powers that we have given him to demand the same kind of tribute that kings and monarchs demanded. And the reason that we have to stand together today to vote against these arms sales to Qatar and UAE is because, unfortunately, these 2 countries, who are admittedly often allies, important allies of the United States, have decided to comply with President Trump's request to pay him that tribute. Shortly before the president went to the Middle East, he did not dispense to the region his Secretary of State. Instead, he dispensed to the region his business partners. Just before the president made his first major foreign trip to the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and to Qatar, he sent his son and their business partner, who not coincidentally happens to be the son of Trump's Middle East envoy, to the United Arab Emirates. And their request was pretty simple. Their request was not that the UAE do something that would be in the interests of collective American security. Their request was that UAE invest $2 billion in Donald Trump's new crypto business, in particular his stablecoin venture. This is the President of the United States going to the UAE and asking a foreign government to invest $2 billion in his personal business. The company is called World Liberty Financial. On World Liberty Financial's website, it says the company is owned, the majority of the company is owned by Donald J. Trump. This was a pretty exceptional request to make because his crypto business was brand new. At the time, it was a pretty minor player. And so a $2 billion investment from a country like UAE would vault World Liberty Financial into the stratosphere. And in fact, it did. When the UAE complied with that corrupt request, World Liberty Financial, the stable coin that it issues, became the 5th biggest stable coin in the world overnight. Now, the UAE felt like it had to comply with the president's request because they had things they wanted from the United States. First, they wanted a continuation of arms sales, including the sale of Chinook helicopters that we will be voting on today. But they wanted something more specific, something that they weren't able to get from the first Trump administration or from the Biden administration. They wanted some of our most vital, most significant national security secrets. They wanted to be able to get their hands on computer chip technology, the kind of technology that will power the next generation of AI. Now, we as a nation, again, based on bipartisan consensus, had been unwilling to give UAE that technology because it is a fairly open secret that the UAE has a very close, very cozy relationship with China. And there was a very real worry, there still is a real worry, that that technology, if transferred to the UAE, would be quickly transferred to China, allowing China to be able to outpace us, to outrun us in the race to advanced AI. But the UAE knew that there was a way to get what they wanted. There was a way to change the policy of the United States, and it was a $2 billion investment in Trump's business. And not coincidentally, just weeks after they announced that they were putting $2 billion into Trump's crypto business, his father, who, again, not coincidentally, is Trump's Middle East envoy, went back to the region and announced that they would be moving forward with the transfer of these computer chips to the UAE. $2 billion into Trump family's pockets, the most sensitive American technology that had been previously banned from going to the UAE being sent to the UAE. Apparently, we didn't make any demands that the UAE divest itself from its security relationship with China. Instead, was that the UAE make a $2 billion investment in Donald Trump's business. As you can imagine, once the word was out that the Trump administration was for sale, other countries decided to get into the mix. Donald Trump apparently had taken a look at a luxury plane that the country of Qatar owned, reportedly the most luxurious plane in the world. Gold plating, a spiral staircase designed by a famed French designer, and the president wanted it personally. And so he dispensed the Department of Defense, apparently, to go to the Qataris and ask them to give him the plane. Just like he had asked the UAE for a $2 billion investment in his business, a $2 billion investment that nobody else was going to give him, except for a foreign power over whom Donald Trump had leverage because of his role as president of the United States, he went to the Qataris and asked them to give him this jet because he liked it, because it was fancy, because he thought he deserved it, and he knew they couldn't say no. Why? Because the Qataris also have specific asks of the United States. More broadly, they were burned during Trump's first term when the Saudis and the Emiratis ganged up on the Qataris and effectively implemented an economic and political blockade on Qatar. The Trump administration in the first term effectively took the side of the Emiratis and the Saudis. That was devastating for the Qataris. And so, first and foremost, they wanted to make sure that never again would Trump abandon them if there was a contest like that in the Middle East. And so when he asked for the plane, just based upon their desire to make sure they did not get abandoned again, they felt they had to say yes, but they also wanted an arms sale. And the arms sale they wanted was a groundbreaking arms sale. Never before has the United States been willing to sell our most sensitive drone technology into the Middle East. Weren't willing to transfer our most sensitive computer chips. We also weren't willing to send our most sensitive drone technology. Qatar wanted that drone technology. And once again, just like the UAE knew that they could get our most sensitive computer chip technology if they sent $2 billion to Donald Trump's business ventures, Qatar, having learned that lesson, realized that if they gave a massive gift to the president, maybe he would break with a bipartisan precedent not to send this sensitive drone technology into the Middle East, and guess what? They got what they wanted. The president has agreed to move forward with sending our most sensitive drone technology, the Predator drones, into the Middle East to Qatar. Not a coincidence that they are also willing to send him this jet. Now, I had the chance this morning to talk to the Secretary of Defense about this jet because one of the claims the administration has made is that the jet is actually being sent to the U.S. government. But we learned some important facts this morning. So it is true that right now the U.S. government is buying 2 new Air Force Ones. And it's true that that contract is expensive and it's taken a little bit longer than both Republicans and Democrats had hoped. But both those planes from Boeing are due for delivery sometime at the end of Trump's term. What we learned today is that this plane that's being gifted temporarily to the United States government is going to take several years to retrofit and will become available essentially at the exact same time that the 2 Boeing planes are made available. So we don't actually need this plane as a new Air Force One because the Boeings are still under contract and they are going to be ready simultaneously. But the Secretary of Defense is committed to accepting the gift of this plane and then spending upwards of $1 billion of taxpayer money in order to retrofit this plane. $1 billion that we don't need because we're already spending $4 billion on the 2 Boeings. So now instead of having 2 Air Force Ones, we're going to have 3 Air Force Ones. We don't need 3 Air Force Ones. But
3 Air Force One, and they cut Medicaid and food stamps for the yeah. So that's a lot of money, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's basically
That's that.
well, there's more to it, but I mean that's
Yeah, that's to the point,
yeah,
though, right?
that's to the point. 3 Air.
What was this story? Did you hear that? I think it was in the Gulf, the Gulf Sea. There was a U.S. ship, aircraft carrier, and 2 aircrafts fell off and sank.
Aren't they
like very, very, very big? Jets and fighters. They just fell off, and the U.S. lost them. They were worth billions of dollars.
I believe it. Well, that stealth bomber, what is it? B-2, that stealth bomber that looks like a bat. It's like $1 billion.
Well, this just happened like this week though. Somebody was
Yeah,
telling
but
me.
you would think that the amount of money they cost that they would really secure them down.
Why would that happen?
I mean,
Why
I
would
mean
that
the
happen?
containers on the Chinese container ships are secured. They can't secure.
For the amount of taxpayer dollars going to pay for this bullshit, they can't even keep the planes on the ship. They're falling off.
Well, I hope the Navy sent a retrieval team to.
They didn't. They didn't.
Oh my! The military budget
That's
strikes.
the military industrial shit show,
Yeah, I
man.
think it's over 60% of the budget. The military budget. You know,
So if you can cut that by 75%, right?
the bloat,
And that
the waste, the bloat of the military budget.
yeah, I would say you cut it by 75% if I were Trump.
Well,
75 slash from the
yeah.
military
The first
industrial
thing I would
budget.
do is is terminate all these several hundred or more military bases.
The bases, oh yeah, the bases got to get out of the bases,
Yeah,
come home,
there's no reason. What are they doing?
and then what would you do with the bases once everybody's gone?
Wait,
Because you got that property then, right? So like, what do you think if you were Donald Trump, real estate guy?
you mean they don't? The, the country is not providing that land for the U.S. military.
I think the U.S. would try to, because they have contracts with the U.S. I think most of the countries do. Syria doesn't. The U.S. is in like illegally in Syria, but for the most part, I think they have some kind of legal ease
Well, the
bullshit going on, right?
Philippines got the Americans to terminate their base in the Philippines and leave.
All right,
Well, that
well
was
that's great.
good.
Good for them. Good for them. But the Middle East is where
Well, Europe is ridiculous. I
Europe
mean,
is just stupid.
there's no
Yeah, that's
reason.
stupid.
There's no reason
No, come
for
on.
United States military
Anybody,
base.
anybody who says that they served out their tour in Germany and they're like, I mean, obviously it's not World War II, right?
You know what a tour. You know what? You know who spent his military time in Germany in the army is the whiskey scout from Kansas,
Yeah, I mean that's all right.
which
That
is fine.
because that's how old he is. He came around that time.
Well, they asked him,
Yeah,
where do you want to go? You want to go to 80? Well, usually they stick you wherever they want.
but
But
he probably was smart, and he got a very good grade on the entrance exam. That's called the ASVAB. Because I did. I was when I was 17 years old. I was considering that, and they told me I got an astonishing, score. So probably Whiskey Scout got a good score,
you probably
and
could
then
have.
and then he could, pick to go to like an easy, an office, somewhere probably.
Yeah, you
They
could.
told they told me I would most likely be in an office. They
You
said it
probably.
might be in Iraq, but it's not. But it might not be in Iraq. They said
Probably
you might be able to stay stateside, but
you
if
probably
anything, it would be an office.
you probably qualified for West Point with your with
No,
your.
no, 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 no. Because I was a student in high school.
Okay, so all right, so he was in Germany, which means good
Right.
food, a lot of
Oh
beer,
yeah, yeah, and they love the beer festivals in Germany, right? They
and,
always talk about that.
and Fraulines. He probably had a lot of fraternizing going on.
Him and remember the guy? His name was
Fresh, yeah.
barbecue guy. He
Fresh is he's
he's
from
around the same
Colorado.
age
From
as
Colorado.
Whiskey Scout. Him and Whiskey Scout are like the same age, and they were both in Germany around the same time.
Yeah, that's a piece of cake.
I mean, I wouldn't say that. I'm not gonna like just say it's a piece of cake. You know, I'll give him some respect.
Piece of apple strudel. But I tell you,
I'll give him respect, but
yeah, but when you go on leave, you have a good time.
it's not what the guys were doing in Iraq, in
No,
fucking
no.
Afghanistan, right? And that's my generation. That's my generation. So it makes me think,
Now, getting back to that fucking Netanyahu, it kept on saying over and
Same
over.
guy, same shit.
He was like a fast talking. He was like an infomercial.
My question, James, is how does he come back into government so often? Why is he always the prime minister? Like, what's going on over there?
Probably the oligarch.
It's the same thing with Putin, right? So if we're against it with Putin, why are we for it with fucking Netanyahu?
This Netanyahu guy. First of
He
all,
he's an oligarch. He's an oligarch, right?
he's not a real Israelite. None of them are.
None of them are. None of them are. The Europeans.
Israelites.
The European, right?
They're the eagle beaks. The what do you call the Eastern European?
For the most part, the Eastern Europeans, not the Western Europeans.
No, they're the Eastern. The ones that are in fucking Hollywood. They're part of the Eastern European Zionists. The ones
Right.
that run Hollywood.
Roger and Ebert. Right.
Nah, they were movie critics.
Who's
I'm talking about the perverts in Hollywood.
They're all perverts. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
Drugs, homosexual.
Drugs, fucking ridiculous shit, and the stuff going on with the rapper Diddy.
Yeah, that's
more shit's coming out every day with that shit. It's serious.
That's.
I mean, I know you hear about it from Paul, and Paul is like a wild guy, and you can't understand what he says. But this is actually a real story. This Diddy thing it's fucked up. It's really
with all the oil.
Yeah, all kinds of baby oil.
It's fucking homosexual orgy.
It's gay. It's gay shit.
Yeah. That's all under the Hollywood shit. The perverts. And that's all,
But how was this allowed to happen for years?
That and the pedophile activity.
Yeah, that's even worse. That's even worse.
The elites.
But they go together. A lot of times the gay shit will go together with the pedophile shit.
What about the child trafficking for sex purposes? The child trafficking.
Yeah, it's fucked up, man.
And then you got and that fucking Netanyahu kept on saying really fast, "Oh, 9/11, it definitely is connected with Iraq."
Yeah,
no,
why is he saying that?
No, it's not. That's when he was younger. That's when after 9/11, he kept saying it's Iraq. It's Iraq.
and then after like years later, he got replaced by somebody else. I don't know how many times, but now like he's here. It's over 20 years later.
When he comes back.
And Netanyahu's a fucking prime minister again. Why is he always there?
I heard he's buddies with Jared Kushner, the husband of Ivanka. Ivanka. But the point is, there is no connection between.
So Ivanka is Jewish, right?
I swear to God, if I had a daughter and she converted from Christianity or Catholicism,
Trump doesn't care. He doesn't care about his religion.
Her husbands, but you know why? They actually.
But to become a Jew, yeah, it's a little.
They expect their spouse to convert to them, but heaven forbid, they'll never convert to the.
So why do you think Trump puts up with it with his son-in-law?
Because somebody sweetened the deal. The fact that he's a high up, rich guy.
Who is he exactly?
His family's probably filthy rich.
Is he like a government official in Israel though?
Maybe they're rich like the guy Cohen that owns Nets. What was he, a hedge fund man?
But he's not a government figure though, so that's different.
Well, the Kushners are not really government.
So why do people say that they have they're tight knit with the Israeli government? That's what I've heard. Maybe this is bullshit.
When he went to college with him, I think they were classmates or something.
With Netanyahu?
Yeah, Netanyahu is educated in the United States. That's why he talks.
And where was Jared Kushner educated for college? You don't know.
He went to school.
You're not sure.
Well,
yeah,
personal friends. That I know.
Him, Kushner, and Netanyahu are personal friends.
Yeah, yeah.
Really? But Netanyahu's older than him, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. He's when he was bitching and moaning about 9/11 being connected to Iraq, he was like 60 years old at that time.
How old is he now?
Well, he's an old geezer, but he's like,
Netanyahu.
yeah, but the way he was doing it, he was pretty pushy.
He's fucked up, man.
He was like shouting and talking fast, like an
He's
info.
like a he's like a not like a scary movie character.
He looks like Bela Lugosi. You ever see?
Yeah, yeah, he does.
You ever see
And his voice is like that too.
the old Dracula movie? When he smiles, they look the same.
His family is probably from that area, that Eastern European Transylvania area.
Well, actually,
If you think about it, that's where the Jews that are in Israel, that's where they come from. Is from Eastern Europe. So
Europe, actually,
it makes sense, like you're saying.
Bela Lugosi was Romanian.
He was Transylvania, Romania, around that area.
There was
Hold on, John. I'll be right back.
Okay. Okay, anybody out there have any issues? Any complaints? You want to vent? Now's your time to vent. Let me see if I got any messages here. So I could I have a chance to answer them back. Let's see what we got. This fucking guy. I only use this raw, unfiltered honey that has the pollen inside because of its nutritional value and great flavor. Period. Pancake syrup is just pure sugar, toxic crap. Period. People continue using the pancake syrup because they were brainwashed by years of advertisements. Period. All right. Let me see if I can send a link to this jabroni. Okay. All right. I just sent the link out to a few more people. All right. Let's see. Little Spanish Flea by Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass. All right. Oh, what is he doing? He's defecating and it's taking a long time to wipe his ass. Can't be urination. Nobody has that much piss in their bladder. Oh, there it is. Oh, who's he looking at? Maybe he sees a UFO sighting in Clearwater, Florida. You just saw him standing there. He was looking out. I gotta mention that to him. Here he comes. You hear that? Probably frogs, crickets. What was that? Frogs and crickets I hear out by the pond.
Yeah, I just saw two really, really hot blondes walking to the pool.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I was looking at.
You should go bring the live stream to the pool. So I meant to
I was
ask.
thinking at first they were going to the gym, and then I'm like, no, you can't go to the gym dressed like that, you know.
They're going for a late night swim.
But I don't see them out there, so I'm not sure.
Yeah. Now, do you think if you have a really good camera with like a telephoto lens or something, you think if you just sat out there looking in the direction of the Gulf, you might see some UFO sightings?
So this direction is not the Gulf; it's the Tampa Bay.
Okay.
And then in front of me, that would be the Gulf, going all the way that way.
So your terrace is facing Tampa Bay.
Exactly. So my terrace faces east, actually. Faces east.
All right.
Towards Tampa Bay.
But,
I live in Pinellas County, Clearwater, Pinellas County, and I overlook, or I'm very close to the Tampa Bay body of water. And then on the other side of that is the city of Tampa.
Okay.
Which is in Hillsborough County.
Is Clearwater Beach in Pinellas County also?
Yeah. Yep. So that would go west of me, right? And it's part of Clearwater, yeah, it's Clearwater Beach. But it's towards the Gulf.
Yeah,
not the bay.
You were saying Hogan's Hideaway is like literally
Hogan's Hangout is
across the street from.
It's across the street from the beach, which is the Gulf. Some people call it the Gulf of America. Some people call it the Gulf of Mexico.
I call it the Gulf of Mexico. Mexico. Listen, there was a.
But yeah, Hogan's Hangout is right across the street.
Hogan had a reality show on a white sandy beach with Jimmy Hart and all that, the whole crew. I bet it was that beach.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
I bet they filmed on
You're
that.
talking about Hogan Knows Best?
No, not the one with his annoying
his kids,
ex-wife.
Nick, and what was his daughter's name? Brooke Hogan.
Brooke Hogan. Oh, no, they weren't bad. It was the
mom.
The wife. His ex-wife kept nagging.
You know, she wanted her own show without Hogan.
I felt so sorry for. We got to change your wardrobe. It's too 1980s. You got to stop wearing that that
Yeah.
that fanny
No,
pack.
that's what made him famous.
You
That's
know,
what
he,
made him
he
famous.
liked to wear the baggy,
Everybody loves Hulk Hogan, man.
the genie pants. The
Yeah,
genie.
yeah.
Everything that
The
he liked.
1980s made him famous, so I'm sure he has a lot of good feelings for the fashion. Why not?
She used to on the show nag
I
him.
know, I saw it. I watched it.
She nagged him constantly. Oh, I felt so bad for him because he was like, oh, please. The
And she
look
was probably a shitty mother too,
like the look on his face. He
with,
was like,
with her son and daughter. She was probably a shitty mother.
well, they kind of went astray, if you know what I mean. The son, right? He eventually had a problem with alcoholism, and the daughter
I know
was
he got into a lot of vehicular problems. The son, Nick Hogan.
vehicular. Is that something dirty? What's
Nick, vehicular Nick.
what's vehicular mean in
Vehicular means
is that,
involving
is
a vehicle.
that sex?
You know that, right? It's
Vehicular.
involving a vehicle.
You give hickeys. You give too many hickeys. People. Vehicular. Oh, so what? And then Brooke.
Yeah, you had me there for a second, James.
Brooke was
You
dating.
had me there for a second.
Brooke was dating too many.
The guys with the underwear sticking out, right?
We're moving on up to the east side. To
The
the
guys
dealer.
that they got their pants down below their ass.
You mean the yo people?
Got to be careful what you say, James. Careful what you say.
Yo. With the pantaloon, with the underwear sticking out.
So when Hogan had his he had a club in Tampa. You remember, right? Like it was a famous club. Everybody heard about it. Like whenever they ask if you live in this area, they ask, "Did you go to the Hogan's Club in Tampa?" But by the time I ever looked it up, I didn't. It was before I moved here. I actually came here on vacation, and I went to go see Hogan's Club in Tampa because I'd heard about it. By the time I went there, it was already closed. So I never got to see what was going on, but I heard that he wouldn't allow people to enter the club with do-rags on.
Oh yeah, it was a dress code.
Yeah, so they said he was racist because of that.
No, he's not because the
Oh,
place.
that's what they said.
Listen, the Irish pub I used to hang out in, it was a sports bar too, and and they had a dress code. No, they adopted a dress code since there was fights started.
Yeah.
Since fights started, they adopted.
And the people who had fights were wearing do-rags, right?
They were of a certain ethnic
Right.
group, but ever since they adopted the dress code,
Everything's good.
all the trouble stopped immediately. There was no riff.
Well, they gave Hogan a hard time for it, man.
No riffraff comes in, no trouble. So
That's probably because he's a big famous guy, so it's like, oh, we know him. The more they know you, the worse it is, right?
But the cops in Clifton, that's where the pub was on U.S. Highway.
Clifton, New Jersey.
It was on U.S. Highway 46. U.S. Highway Route 46. It was called Pub 46, and it was in Clifton. The New Jersey suburb cops. They took the riffraff troublemakers. They beat the living hell out of them.
It's not like Newark, right?
No. And it's not like New York where they allow
New York City, yeah.
They beat the fucking shit out of them.
Even Elizabeth, right?
Well, Elizabeth's kind of a shithole.
Yeah, like Newark. It's like Newark, right?
There's Irvington and.
So that's what I'm saying. I would compare Newark and Elizabeth to be kind of the same thing.
I'm talking about the bird chirping, manicured homes, landscape,
the Governor Newsoms of the world.
The lily
The lily whites.
the lily white suburbs.
There's something about
The cops don't take no shit.
Gavin Newsom though. He's got the look. I think he can get away with all the bullshit.
Listen, I'm surprised at Gavin Newsom, and I'll tell you why. I'm surprised that he allowed his California National Guard to do the bidding of Hogan, because the National Guard is
You said of Hogan.
not Hogan. I'm sorry, of Trump. The National Guard. I think I need another lager beer. The National Guard of California. Did I say Hogan?
Mm-hmm.
National Guard of California is supposed to answer to the governor.
Yes, yeah, they are right.
Do the bidding of Hogan. Yeah.
That was the original idea, I guess.
Yeah. Now
they're just part of the military industrial.
Now there's another problem.
There's no states in the states.
There's another problem. The ICE agents. Some of them are wearing masks. And,
but all the rioters wear masks.
And they don't have any uniforms, and they have a mask on. So you don't know if somebody is a real ICE agent that wants to come into your home. Let's say you're an immigrant. Let's say you're here legally, but you might be from.
You might be from Ukraine, right?
I don't know. You might be. Let's say you're south of the border.
Why? What if you're European?
But you're here.
Polish.
Right, and ICE is harassing you, and they got a mask on, and they have no uniform on. You don't know who the hell.
Does the mask say ICE on it? The mask?
No,
it doesn't even say that.
No, you don't know who the hell these people are.
Yeah,
unmarked, a black van or something.
Are they doing that? Why are they hiding their identities?
They're supposed to have identification.
Yeah, I thought they did.
That they are a federal law enforcement official. They're supposed to show, like FBI usually takes a badge out.
So they're not doing that?
No, they're acting like thugs.
I didn't know that.
This is part of the big problem that people have, but they don't know who the hell. They don't know if there really are federal agents or federal.
So they're not identifying themselves. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, correct. Correct.
Why?
Because the guy that runs it is very shady. He's involved with privatized.
The guy that runs ICE?
Yeah, if you look at
it's the government, right?
No, the guy that runs ICE that Trump hired looks like Elmer Fudd, and
Holman.
He's weird looking, and
he's from New York. Did you know that? He's actually from New York.
He's got a pudgy face, and
yeah.
He's involved with the privatized prison. But then again,
that doesn't surprise me. You're talking about Holman, right?
I mean,
Holman.
I think Lindsey Graham, the guy with little twinkle toes.
He's got to go, man. Lindsey Graham. Why is he still there?
I heard he had.
And who's the other one?
Financial involvement, privatized prison.
Who's the senator from Kentucky? Not Rand Paul.
Oh, you're talking about Turtleface?
Yeah.
He's still,
how old is he now?
Is he still a senator?
I think he is. So is Schumer. So is Pelosi, right? Pelosi is too, right? They're all still there. Fucking, I mean, they gotta stop with these.
Pelosi's like, what is she, 90 or something?
They're too old, man. Like, that's not right. That's not fucking right.
Mitch McConnell.
McConnell, yeah, and Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham is his counterpart, right? The two fucking neocon old timers they want a war with everybody.
They're Confederates. They're
not Confederates. They're new conservatives.
No, I mean when I say
holdovers from like the 1980s.
Talk about deep
bullshit.
They're deep South Republicans. Deep South.
Are both of them? Where's Lindsey Graham from?
South Carolina, I think.
No, he's not from South Carolina. He's from somewhere else.
No, Lindsey. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You're thinking of Mitch McConnell.
No, Mitch McConnell's from Kentucky. Listen, Mitch McConnell.
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
McConnell is pissed off at Trump, and he's
For what?
he's because he
He's not.
thought
He's probably not pissed off anymore because Trump sent missiles to Iran an hour ago.
no, McConnell was removed as Speaker of Senate Majority Leader Speaker. His job of Senate Majority Leader.
Who is now? Who is it now?
He was removed from that.
Who is it now though? The Speaker of the House. So the Speaker of the House, right? That's what you're talking about?
Uh,
The Republican Speaker of the House? Because it was Mitch McConnell before, right? Yeah, it used to be Mitch McConnell. So now it's it's another Republican. You don't know who it is?
no, I only focus on the good-looking ones.
Yeah, like Anna Paulina.
No, like and the other one, the stupid ass.
AOC is good too.
No, the stupid ass that's in charge of Homeland Securities. No, him, the dog killer.
She's not bad, right?
The dog killer.
When she was governor, she was like
she was a governor.
Not that good looking.
No.
Yeah, she was the governor of North Dakota.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then now she dresses like more provocatively, right?
Well, she's better. She's better looking now. Now she had her dog killed because he wouldn't listen to. He couldn't be trained. He wasn't. That was horrible because the dog was not sick. It was not unhealthy. It was just stubborn. You know. I mean, if it was a male dog, that's how people tell me male dogs are hard to train because you know they want to wander and get laid all the time. Where are you going? Again? You're going to urinate again? I mean, he pees. I thought I was bad running to the bathroom. But he doesn't say anything. He just gets up. Sound like a lot of frogs out there are croaking. Ugh. Yo. Damn. I don't know if you could see this, folks. Christina limbata. It's a beetle. It's a beetle. Now look at this. Ronnie, look at this. You ever seen a beetle that looks like chrome? It looks like polished metal.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, it's a beetle. Look at it. It looks like a piece of stainless steel.
Stainless steel? Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
No, look.
Uh,
It's a real beetle.
Did you catch that?
Did I catch what? Beetle? No, it's not here. It's on my phone.
Okay. Did you zoom in more on the camera? Looks like it's closer now than it was.
Me?
Yeah.
Not that I know of. I know I can zoom.
Because before I had this, the background was showing, and it's not showing now.
I what I did was I played with the camera. I zoom in, I zoom out. You know, I try to.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to zoom too far out because then I'll be far away. You know, I don't want to come.
There might be some lightning strikes you can see in the back. Kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, I like the frogs croaking. If they are frogs, I think they are.
I don't know. We have a lot of coyotes over here. It's crazy.
In Florida too, they got.
Oh yeah, they're right here in these woods, right in the back of me.
What do you do? They bang out a lot of babies.
Anytime there's like an ambulance or a police siren, the coyotes scream during the day. At nighttime too.
That's why you were so worried about your dog when you couldn't
Yes.
find your
Yeah,
dog.
yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
And she must be smart because she knew where to hide.
She's fucking smart, and like it's crazy to think
Yeah,
about. But
she knew where to hide. She
she
knew.
hid under cars. You know how I know? Because when I give her a walk and we come around cars, she tries to go underneath them.
You,
She's like, oh, I want to go under this car. She
you
didn't used to do that before. She
think
didn't do that before.
think she
She felt safe under the car.
she must have went under the car and up against the tire on the
Yeah.
side,
Yep. Yep.
like
Yeah.
the inner tire. That was like,
Because I live like right off the highway, right? So there's like the service road of the highway. That's what's the front of my complex, and then to the side, down the street, is um, car dealerships. So when she ran away, that's where she ended up, was in the car dealerships, and I think she would hide under those cars.
and yeah, where the hell did she? How did she get water? That's what I like to know.
Just anywhere, just surviving. There's puddles and shit around.
Yeah, I
She
mean,
did it, man.
it's
Like
not
pretty tough for a little dog.
not the healthiest water. Yeah, for a little
No,
friggin'
no,
shit.
it's not the healthiest, but she was able
But
to survive.
I'm for a little delicate little Shih Tzu.
Yeah, it's amazing.
She's not that delicate,
It,
you
it
know.
kind of it shows you like you should have respect for every dog type, because like even the little shitty ones, they're not all like annoying and they just keep barking like "Meow." Like those dogs are very annoying. Like
I mean, a York, like a Chihuahua or a Yorkshire.
yeah, Chihuahua. Even sometimes the Shih Tzus do that. They bark at everybody. My dogs don't do that.
Yeah, but you, the owner, is supposed to train them and show
We
them
never trained. We never trained them. We were just lucky that they ended up being good dogs.
a dog has to learn who the alpha is, and they can tell by you don't
Yeah,
have,
yeah.
you don't have to hit them. They can tell by your voice,
Hmm.
tone
Hmm.
of your voice. Like when
Yeah, yeah.
you say no, and you
Hmm.
look at them like no, and it's a Japanese dog, Shih Tzu, right? Yeah,
Chinese. It's Chinese.
they're Chinese. Okay,
Yeah.
so, but they could tell by your
And they
tone.
were almost extinct in like the World War II days. And the story that I've heard is that there was like two U.S. soldiers in Japan, no, in China,
Yeah,
and I think they were British actually, two British soldiers. Like they found like the last couple of Shih Tzus like in the whole world, and
really.
they brought them to England. They returned home to England, and they started breeding them. And they just brought the breed back to life from those last couple of dogs.
So they were,
It's kind of like amazing.
yeah, they were almost extinct.
Yeah, they were.
Now there's another dog that looks like a Shih Tzu. They call it a Lhasa Apso,
There's also one that's called a Maltese.
a Maltese.
It's very very similar. But
Um,
those are just like stupid, like
and pugs.
different differences.
Pugs are Chinese.
I don't think pugs look like Shih Tzus though.
No. They're like little tiny bulldogs, but they're
Yeah.
Chinese. Shar-Peis are a
But
box.
you've never been into dogs, right? You don't really like dogs.
Well, it's not that I don't like dogs. I mean,
You don't want to take care of one yourself.
it's
Yeah.
it's a lot of responsibility. Like the veterinary bills will
Do
destroy.
you ever feel like it would be like company for you though, like man's best friend?
I'm gonna have man's best friend as a female than a
Yeah,
fool.
but you don't have a female there every night.
No,
The
I don't.
dog is always there.
Well, I got a fit my aquarium. I got a scorpion.
Yeah.
I got plants.
I was just wondering.
I got the internet. I got friends in the
So
area.
you don't go for that man's best friend stuff. You don't do that.
Well, you know what's gonna happen. When do like Ralph Cramden said on the honeymoons? When do dogs want to be taken out? Late at night or early in the morning, and also Also, if it's freezing cold out, they got to go out, which means you got to put your your boots on, and take them out.
That's not true for me.
Well, because you're in Florida.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like it's a responsibility, and then if you pet them, they have
Is it a responsibility to walk down the block?
they have a
I mean
stick.
that's a good time for you, as a man to go and get a little fresh air.
Yeah,
You
right.
could just take the dogs with you. That's all.
What if I wanna go away? Who's
Yeah,
gonna watch
you
them?
can.
Who's gonna? I gotta find a kennel.
I mean, if you're away, you
If
can
I,
bring them. You can bring them. Travel with your dogs.
it's
Yeah.
like
You don't want to do that.
it's too much of a hassle.
No.
I don't want to be bothered. I like my freedom.
You got their particularities, so
Yeah, I mean,
nothing wrong with that.
you know, well, I don't know what hobbies you have in the house. Do you guys like plants, or do you have or just the Shih Tzu?
We don't have any plans. We tried, here and there, but they always die.
Uh, well, you have a terrace, which means
Yeah, I've tried on the terrace. I've tried putting them just by the windowsill inside, and they die. This doesn't work, man.
even on the table on your terrace, they die in there?
Yeah, it's too hot. It's too hot. I mean, I know there's ways to do it. There's got to be specific plants that you can use. I just never have looked that far into it.
Well, they all have their care requirements.
Yeah, I know. And I don't want to buy one and then just it's because of me that it dies.
The most trouble-free plant that happens.
Hold on, James. I'll be right back.
Again?
Yeah, be right back.
How many? You just left to go urinate. You gotta.
I gotta go urinate again.
Oh, you better.
That was like a half hour ago.
Get your bladder, your prostate check. You better go to your.
No, I gotta check the weed too. I'm gonna go get some weed. So.
All right, go ahead.
It's not just about the urination.
Yeah, you gotta get exam. You gotta
It's not just about the urination though.
You should get an exam.
What, a urinary tract exam?
You should have try to find a good-looking urologist, a female, because when she checks your prostate,
a Pakistani nurse, right?
Her fingers go in up your ass, and they feel up.
I know what they do.
Yeah, they jiggle.
They're always Pakistani or Indian. Right?
Plus, they feel your testicles. They check for testicular cancer.
Oh, I never had that.
But I mean, if the right urologist, she's attractive and she's jiggling your balls, that might be.
It might be a little something else, right?
Might be something, yeah.
Got to be careful about that.
Yeah, I know you got. Yeah, no comment. It's an old story. Oh man, I thought my bladder was weak. Damn. You see how many times he goes and urinates? Now this is the theme song to the Dating Game by Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass.
Hey James, you wanna fuck around and send the link to Paul?
I did.
Oh, did you? Okay.
I
didn't know.
I sent one to Eric. I sent one to Michael.
Oh yeah, what's up with Eric? I wanted to talk about that.
Gold balls. I sent one to Jordy.
Our James. Our
What?
friend Eric. Did you see his latest video?
No, what's going on? Is it gay?
Well, I mean, it's public, so I'm gonna assume he wouldn't care if I say
Hold on, let me send
say
my.
it on air.
Come on the show. Ronnie wants to ask you something.
No, I don't want to ask him anything. I was
He
just gonna
said
tell you.
you had a public. You had some kind of a public video, and I'm trying to find out what it was about. Ronnie seems concerned for you. Yeah. All right. I send him a message.
No, that was stupid, James.
What?
You didn't have to do
Ronnie's-
that.
Well, what is it
Yeah.
about? Was he
He
making out?
he said he's having a health problem.
He
Health
is
issue.
Eric
Yeah.
Fraunfelter?
Eric Fraunfelter, yep.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And he's not going to be able to do as many alcohol
Shows?
reviews anymore.
Oh, yeah. He was telling me he went to the doc. He had a medical exam.
Yeah, but you didn't have to call him and say that I was worried
No,
about
I
him.
said, I don't even know the details. I mean, I'm concerned.
Neither do I. All I'm saying is I saw that he put out a video saying that.
I'm concerned. Is nothing wrong with you and I being concerned about his health, because these are friends of ours, and
You would hope that BC would have reached out earlier, right?
BC used to get mad at me every time I try to help him and give him fatherly advice.
I didn't think he was that bad that he was on death row.
He was.
I mean, I knew that he smoked on air.
He passed out.
He passed out on air. So he drank a lot. He drank a lot, and most of it wasn't on camera.
I think he was. No, it wasn't on camera. I think he had emphysema because.
Yeah, because he smoked a lot too.
Like he would talk for about a minute, let's say, and then he would start hacking, like coughing up a lung.
And he wasn't that old, right?
No, he was like a lot younger than me, but he looked like he looked old, which is what happens when you don't take care of yourself.
Poor soul. He's a poor soul.
Yeah, no, he was a very sick guy, and I don't know what the fuck Eric's doing. He's not listening. He didn't listen to the message yet. I'm not
That's
gonna.
all right. Don't worry about it. I was just wondering if you might have saw.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, because you're subscribed to him, right? On
Gold
YouTube?
balls. I don't know what the fuck is wrong. He needs a kick in the ass. This Michael Goldsmith Hilton. I know he's got
Gold balls. I like that one.
I know Gold Ball says he has autism, but still, maybe.
He never told me that. Never told. I guess it's like in something you only tell your friends.
Listen, maybe the best psychiatry is a good bada bing across his chops and a kick in the ass, because he's one of those guys that he'll try to get he'll talk to you like he wants advice, but then when you give him advice, he'll like
He doesn't do it.
Sounds good.
But then he's gonna blame me that he's autistic. Right? So you can't work with a guy like that.
And then, he got fired so many times. Listen, if he's fired so many times because he's autistic, he might as well just apply for like Social Security disability.
He should. He probably already did, James. Remember, he lives in California. He probably gets all kinds of benefits and shit.
He's got. I'm sure the condominium was
paid
owned.
for by the working man. Right?
No, I bet his mom owned that condominium.
Yeah, his mom is a Jew, right? His dad wasn't, but his mom was. Is that what it was?
I don't know. I know his father's Hilton.
So Hilton it's not Jewish.
Now Goldsmith.
But Goldsmith would be a very Jewish name, I think.
Goldberg is Jewish.
Gold, anything with gold in it is Jewish, I think.
Because they love gold.
Because that's their religion. So they killed Christ, and they replaced him with the love of money and pride.
They chose the they chose the
They
thief,
chose the wrong way.
they chose the thief Barabbas over
Mm-hmm.
over Jesus.
Over Jesus.
Now, why? Because Jesus turned the tables over on the money changers, the Pharisees.
Yep,
You know
exactly.
the Pharisees that were in
And
the
then the money changers got the common folk, the uncleaned masses, unwashed masses.
unwashed.
The money changers got them all excited, so they went against Jesus. They followed their leader.
Yeah, they called him blasphemer.
Hmm.
Blasphemer,
But the Jews put Jesus to death. I mean, that's true.
yeah, because he called them out for what they really were.
He
The
now
Phar-
he didn't say that they had hook noses. That came along later,
yeah, the Pharisees,
right? Right?
the Pharisees. Yeah, well, you know what's worse? Zuckerberg's hook nose. I saw flaky skin like peeling
Do you
off.
think they had the hook noses back in 2,000 years ago? It goes that far back.
Well, you know, my mother worked with a girl who
I don't
was.
think it does, right?
She worked with a girl who was Syrian, and she had the biggest fucking.
Syrians are probably pretty women,
Yeah,
right?
her nose was like a two. She
Mm.
looked like a toucan, like she belonged on a box of Fruit Loops. Yeah, she had a huge honker, and
I
what was
might
I?
go out to the pool tonight, James. I don't know.
You know what?
I'm thinking about it. Thinking about it.
Listen, if there's a little gathering at the pool, and you go out to the pool, maybe I could start a late night after hours live stream. And is there a USB outlet
I
by
don't
the
know. I don't
by,
know. I
by
don't
the
think so.
by
I
the
don't think we can do it tonight.
by the cabana boy? The cabana?
We might be able to do it tomorrow
Oh,
during the day. Are you going live during the day?
no, I don't have any plans, but if you tell me,
I
Jake,
thought that you do don't you do a Sunday show usually?
the last Sunday of the month, why is
Oh,
tomorrow?
it's only once a month. Yeah, or no, next week is the
That's
last.
the mysticism thing. But I
Okay,
mean,
I didn't know that you only did it once a month.
but if you're gonna be by the cabana, by the pool tomorrow, and you're gonna have your cooler with you, you said there's a
I don't
refrigerator.
know. I don't even need a cooler. Yeah, there's a fridge over there.
Yeah, but you might want to bring like lots of refreshments and maybe
I
some
don't need a cooler though. Got the fridge right there.
some peaches,
I got the pool table,
some plums, some nectarines,
some plums.
some.
Did you hear what happened with Diddy yesterday in
Yesterday,
court?
something happened with him. No,
In
I,
court,
I didn't hear it. No.
they brought up that he had the baby oil. The bottles are all in special suitcases that were climate controlled, like a humidor for a cigar.
Oh God, really?
That they found all the baby oil in these different suitcases.
Well, he
And they said it was in L.A. and then he had a place in Miami Beach.
well, he used to oil. He used to. I heard he used to oil up Justin Bieber.
And then there was another article. This is from the New York Post.
Jeez.
There was another article. Do you know Fat Joe, the rapper?
There's so many rappers. But,
So he worked with Diddy. He became famous. There's somebody suing him who said that he was in his like entourage.
yeah.
Fat Joe would every night basically tell girls to come to the hotel, and then at the hotel he would force this guy who worked for him to, they say, do sexual acts. That's the quote, sexual acts with the girl that they brought back to the hotel. So Fat Joe wanted to watch it. You know, sick,
So,
weird shit.
Fat Joe was a voyeur. He liked to watch.
Yeah, that's what this sounds like, right? And probably Diddy was involved
So it was
in that as well because it
so
happened at
it was a live
yeah,
porno
yeah,
performance.
right, right, right. There's more and more coming out about these fucking freaks, man.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely disgraceful.
So the oil was kept in a special humidor.
Special, yeah, they were freeze locked, so inside they were kept at a certain temperature.
I wonder why. It's oil.
He was fucked up, man. He like there was something about that you know
Well, they don't
made him feel like he was in power with whatever he was doing.
keep mineral oil in any special climate control in the supermarket. It's
I
it's
don't know.
it's right on the shelf.
Yeah, I don't know why it was at a temperature. What made a difference?
Maybe he's just nuts. Maybe that was his idea.
Yeah, I mean you have enough money. It's just like whatever. You just tried things out, probably.
You know, it's like people that are pipe smokers or
Yeah,
aficionados, cigar aficionados. They got to keep them in a special humidor. You know, they can't just stick them in a pouch or in the box. It's got to be in a humidor.
So what do you think of these Trump strikes on Iran tonight?
Well,
Breaking news, right?
that means that Bela Lugosi, Netanyahu, is suckering Trump to get involved in Israel's problems again, and that this could be the beginning of World War III. And the reason why I'm saying
Now, do you think maybe World War III has already started prior to this?
probably, you know, Iran is not a pushover like the other Middle
It's
East.
not. It's not in Iraq.
No.
Iran is more powerful than Iraq.
Iran is Persia, ancient Persia.
Yes, exactly. And what was Iraq? Babylon. Babylon was always weak, right?
Well,
Persia was always strong.
well, Persia. There was a Persian. Xerxes was the emperor of the Persian Empire, but Babylon had Nebuchadnezzar, that was taken over by Xerxes of the Persian Empire, and Babylon was Mesopotamia. They call it the cradle of
Civilization.
Civilization.
And that became Iraq, right? Mesopotamia.
The Tigris, the Euphrates River.
Tigris and Iraq is a very, very important place in the world, actually.
There's a third river that's now a skeleton. It was the Tigris, the Euphrates, and another river. There were three rivers.
What was it? What was it called?
But now it's dried up.
What was it called though? Look it up.
I don't know, dried
Ask the AI.
All right. I'll ask the AI.
What was her name? Lisa? AI?
No, I just call it Mystifying Oracle.
You don't do that anymore?
No, Mystifying. Hold on. Mystifying Oracle. How are you? This is James. I am doing the live stream show right now.
Hey James, I'm doing great, and it's awesome to hear that you're live right now. I hope everything's going smoothly on your end. Let me know if there's anything I can help with during the show.
Okay, I have a question. In Iraq or Mesopotamia, there were three rivers originally: the Tigris, the Euphrates, but there's a third river that is now dried up. Do you, by any chance, know the name of that river?
Yes, you're absolutely right. The third river is the Diyala River. It used to be a major waterway in ancient Mesopotamia, along with the Tigris and the Euphrates. Over time, it has indeed dried up and changed its course, but it's a fascinating piece of history.
You said it was the Dialis?
That's right. It's the Diyala River. It was a significant river in ancient times, and it played a key role in the region's agriculture and trade. If you have any other questions about it, feel free to ask.
Okay, it sounds good. And your the quality and the pleasantness of your voice has definitely improved. Maybe someday I will own a humanoid robot that sounds just like you.
I'm glad you think so. That would be quite the futuristic upgrade, wouldn't it? I'm here to make things as pleasant and helpful as possible, and I appreciate the compliment.
All right, thank you. The Diala River. Let's see. Let me see how it's spelled. Yeah. Diala, spelled Diyala. Diyala. The Diyala River, which is now dry, was the
Oh,
third river.
okay.
The
Yeah,
Tigris,
I never heard of that before
yeah, the
at
Tigris,
all.
the Euphrates,
I only ever heard of the Tigris and the Euphrates always.
the Diyala River.
Diablo.
Hold on.
Interesting.
Let me hold on. I gotta answer this. Yes. Yeah, that's what I heard. I'm live stream right now. If you're not too tired and you want to come on, but anyway, yeah, Netanyahu suckered the United States into another one of their wars again. I played a video where after 9/11, a 60-year-old Netanyahu kept on insisting that there's a connection between the 9/11 attacks and Iraq, and there was none. And $2 trillion and thousands of lives wasted. There was no weapons of mass destruction. So now again, he got the United States involved, and I think I think that Iran will not be alone, and this might be the beginning of World War III. So that's about it. It's somebody I used to go out with. She's a lawyer. Well, she's not a lawyer anymore. She was a lawyer in both New Jersey and New York, but she came down with multiple sclerosis. So that's why she couldn't practice law any longer. Very smart girl. Very nice girl too, but she never made me pay for the restaurant tab. She always paid for her half of the restaurant tab, and also half of the tip. That was very cool of her because a lot of girls have alligator arms, which is short arms and a deep purse. But I mean that's a real feminist. I mean somebody who's fair and who's not going to stick the man with the tab. So I respect that. I respect that. You must have passed out. Well, on that note, thank you everyone out there for joining me for this week's show. And I'll see you again on Progressive Discussions, Open Topic Talk. So take care.